very brief issue with it, and then it just kind of fixed itself really quickly. Anyway. Let's play some dwarves, shall we? So this Plank of Nations, we've just increased the population up to 200. So we're going to have a lot of new dwarves in the next little bit. Did it just say loading crimes? I've never paid attention too closely to what it's actually saying it's doing. We still haven't started farming, which is maybe a little bit silly by me, but this fortress is like 4 or 5 years old now, and this has been all of my resource gathering. I just do this, hit gather plants, and then select this whole thing every so often, and that has just kept us fed, which is kind of great because we're in a good biome. Multiple crossing over good biomes, in fact. So our drinks are pretty lavish, considering we have sand pear cider, we have peach cider, cherry wine, bayberry wine, apple cider, sewer brew, radish wine, potato wine, and finger mullet beer, and occasionally sunshine. We currently don't have any sunshine, looks like, but... and then we're just starting to make prepared meals. We've got a bunch of rat reed roasts and some potato plant roasts. Hey, Brums, how are you? Yeah, the other thing is we've been attacked for the first time, so I kind of quickly whipped up this outer wall, which I'm going to be thickening and beautifying today, making it a little bit nicer. And I've got this kind of long trap hall or long hallway that I'm going to be filling up with weapon traps, I think is the way we're going to do this. We're going to do this real simple. Real simple, like, and just make a lot of weapon traps. I'll build a body masher somewhere around here. I'm thinking about maybe making some sort of lava contraption in the future, because I am working on pumping lava. I want to make like a lava moat or something like an outer lava moat followed by like this inner trap hall. Should be pretty good, is the plan. Yeah, we have sewer brew, which is a problem, but hey, at least that's not gutter crewer. The actual fort itself, if I turn my camera off, if we go up, kind of goes up a little ways, and we have a depressed military dwarf, which is a little, hopefully they figure their stuff out. But if I zoom out a little bit and move up here, this is kind of the upper layer of this fort. Then we have the top layer of this fort, and then it goes all the way up to here, which I'm currently in the process of filling in the upper area of this, so it can have like kind of this really high ceiling. And then up here, I'm not sure what we're gonna do up here. Maybe I'll move the tavern from down here up to here eventually. And then the long-term goal is I want to have a bridge that goes all the way over to this flat bit up here. So I want to start building up here as well. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a fun fort build. We have started getting invaded by the goblins. There is a faction that is at war with us, which, because we are the Plank of Nations, we are at war now with the Occult Seduction, which is a goblin civilization. And we're trading with elves, humans, and dwarves. And the outpost liaison for this faction is a dwarf from a previous fort of mine named Wilmer. Does Dwarven society need more diverse alcohol tolerance and indulgence habits? They like variety. One of the sad moods is like they'll get is, was tired after drinking the same old booze, which is literally just, I've had the same drink for weeks and I'm not a fan. So they don't want to drink the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So you got to give them some variety. But aside from just needing some variety, they don't really need much. Like, as long as it's like high quality drinks, they're generally fine. But they do enjoy variety. So you want your dwarves to be optimally happy, give them some variety. Also, apparently they need drink-producing leaf to produce beverages, because I've got a bunch of drinks and stuff queued up. Currently, we're making large serrated green glass discs. We're preparing lavish meals, brewing drinks from fruits and veg, making copper leggings, constructing rock mechanisms, working on the large serrated copper discs. We're collecting sand and making rock pots. Roger! And also investments are open. Down here we have a little coffins section. Roger, thank you very much for the 1 whole year. Chat, can I get a big round of beers? Roger keeping that sub alive for a whole year. That's a long time. So down here we have this little coffins area for a few dead. And then we've mined out a lot of copper ore veins throughout here, which go pretty far down. In fact, we can actually start mining some more out up here. And then down here, this right here is kind of our corpse disposal area. A little further down, we have this lovely partially formed volcano that we have this little construction above, which goes into the wall over here. Don't mind the miasma. Forgotten Beast did that. Down here we have our glass forges, and we have our metal forges. We have a little lava reservoir down here. It's pretty chill. And then if we go a little further down to here, I'm kind of hoping that we can get some spiders in this zone right here, and they'll start making, or actually something I was thinking about doing was digging over here and then fortifying into that so that we could get some cave spiders in here so that they could start spinning webs for us, because if I go up to this cavern layer, there's webs everywhere, so I need to let some cave spiders in. So that's something that we're trying to do down here, is let some cave spiders into this zone. We currently need empty bags, and we need various things. So I'm just gonna turn off job cancellations because I know those will free up with time. And yeah, that's kind of the current fort. There are plenty of dwarves in this fort, so if anybody would like a dwarf, just let me know. Just let me know what your preference for job is, and I can get you dwarfed up down here potentially. So, yeah, that's this fortress. This is Threatdweller. The long-term goal for this fort is to attract the queen of the faction so that we can become the mountain home so that I can kill the queen. Because the queen, we've kind of developed this headcanon of being a bit of a maniac. She is or rather, the queen of this faction, the Plank of Nations. Wait, hold on a second. Never mind. The queen is no longer the queen, and we have a king now. This is interesting. Okay, change of plans. So, the queen is now Elamino, one of my previous dwarves. This must have happened since the beginning of yesterday. In that, 2-year period that we played yesterday. Because I checked at the beginning, and it was still the same queen. Yeah. Well, Okay, so anyway, the queen was a Gelder, but now that it's Elamino, one of my previous dwarves, that changes things. Still want to become the mountain home, but maybe not kill the queen. What are your options? I got stoneworkers, I got metal workers, I got swords dwarves, I got not many farmers, I got some poets, I got a goblin dancer. I don't know. What do you want? Just name a job, and I probably have one for you. Population's about to skyrocket, though, so if you need a little bit more variety or you want to wait a bit, we can do that, too. I'll take a poet. Do you want a dwarf poet or an elf poet? I got both. Could always force the nobility change? Totally. I mean, I don't necessarily... My goal for this fortress is to make my elven mayor into the queen, but we'll see. Since it's one of my dwarves, I don't know if I want to do that. You want the elf poet? There you go. So Tira, who's now DJ Huxley, is dejected after being unable to acquire something for so long. We've got a bit of a clothing shortage in here. He is the son of Elvelva, Rain Snarled, and is an ardent worshipper of Kovma Island Sunk, and has a former apprentice, Itini Pedal Rains, and used to be the apprentice under Bilolo Hail Queens, and is 137 years old, born on the 11th of Obsidian in the year 82. His hair is extremely long and his ears are somewhat short. His nose bridge is somewhat concave and his nose is slightly upturned. His head is somewhat tall and his hair is saffron and his skin is sepia and his eyes are fern green. Likes talc and rose gold, sardonyx, and the sound of the future metal. Ooh. Future metal fan. That's good. And the sound of the future metal. And the sight of the lilac of poets, and when possible prefers to consume annual, guppy, green cress, and mango wine, and can't stand toads. Personally, believes that the acquisition of power over others is the ideal goal in life and worthy of the highest respect, finds sacrifice to be of the highest folly, and values family, and greatly values competition as a crucial driving force in the world, and respects perseverance and values self-control, and dreams of seeing the great natural places of the world, dislikes helping others and feels strong cravings and seeks short-term rewards, and is troubled by this because he values self-control. He is bashful, and after being uncovered in the year 217, and is greatly moved by art and natural beauty, and does not generally respond to emotional appeals. Takes no pleasure in his talents and appearance, and has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others. He has a tendency towards forming deep emotional bonds with others, and is assertive, and is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. Takes offered help with... He tends to be a little wasteful in working on projects and has a sense of duty, likes to brawl, and has a noticeable lack of perseverance. He finds this troubling as he values perseverance. He has a noticeable lack of I keep rereading the same sentence. He tends to assume the worst of two outcomes will be the one that comes to pass, and he often feels discouraged, and he thinks he is fairly important in the grand scheme of things. There you are. Currently hanging out in the Gorge of Crests, which is the Stoneworkers Guild Hall. A very elven name, that? What'd it mean? Also, there's a few people. One of the original founding members of this fortress, who's now unfortunately passed, was a fan of future metal and knew a bunch of songs in future metal. Future metal is a known type of music for this faction, which is kind of rad. There's also the part where, oh shit, we don't need to worry about cave spider soak because we have cave spider soak. So I can set them to auto-collect webs again. That's actually really good. I've been, like, mad at the fact that they haven't been collecting cave spider soak for a while, but, like, now we can. So that's actually great. Can you be a metal worker? Redger would like to be a metal worker. Let's see. We got metalsmith. We got armorers. We got furnace ops. We got metal crafter. Here, let's give you metalsmith. You're currently forging copper leggings. Kib is your given name, but your nickname is now Redger. He feels wonder communing with Kolvost. Kolvest? Kolvest is a deity of the Plank of Nations, most often takes the form of a female dwarf, and is associated with minerals, jewels, and wealth. And your wife is Thanom. He is 88 years old, born on the 10th of Galena in the year 131. His very long sideburns are braided, and his very long mustache is arranged in double braids. His very long beard is neatly combed, and his hair is clean shaven. His very broad, round chin, he has a very broad, round chin, and his nose bridge is convex. His ears are nearly fused-lobed, and his eyelashes are short. His cinnamon skin is wrinkled, and his his hair is pale taupe with flecks of gray, and his eyes are amethyst. He is agile and strong, but very quick to tire. Likes saffron, magnetite, pig iron, clear diamond, loon, leather, and reacher bone, gems and amulets, and the sounds of the Carillion silkiness and the sight of the russet couple, and when possible prefers to consume char, pig cheese, and maize beer, and can't stand brown recluse spiders. He personally hates those who wield power over others, and finds those that deny their impulses somewhat stiff. Dreams of creating a great work of art. Personally has little time for forgiveness and will generally seek retribution. He feels best when everyone gets along without any strife or contention, and is very greedy, and tends to not reveal personal information. He is unfriendly. He is a friendly individual who generally acts impartially and is rarely moved to mercy. But he is disturbed by this as someone who dislikes those who seek to acquire power over others, and he does not often feel lustful. He tends to avoid any physical confrontations and works to square this natural tendency with his respective martial prowess. He often feels envious of others and generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity. And he is slow to trust others and likes to keep things practical without delving too deeply into the abstract, can handle stress, and is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. He has a tendency to go it alone without considering the advice of others and scratches his nose when he's thinking. He needs alcohol to get through the working day and does not mind being outdoors at least for a time. And he's somewhat focused with satisfied needs and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Currently forging some leggings. A random unnamed dwarf. Boop. That's a random unnamed dwarf. Every dwarf needs alcohol to get through the working day, don't worry. Even babies need alcohol to get through the working day. Magna. Feels satisfied when teaching armor. And was delighted upon remembering watching a performance and felt satisfied after teaching shield. And was interested after learning about fighting, but was dejected after being unable to acquire anything for too long. 86 years old, born on the 11th of Felsight in the year 133. Is married to Inul, Spark Treaty. That's a good name. And has a child, Mesbeth, and is a casual worshiper of Lytast. So your deity, Lytast, takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with pregnancy, creation, crafts, and metals. Your wife is also a swords dwarf, and you have a son. You've killed 2 goblins. In that case, you wish they... Yeah, so, like, you know how humans are 70% water? Like, the joke with Dwarf Fortress is that dwarves are, like, 70% alcohol. Also, Sarada, thanks for the follow, by the way. I saw that. And hello, I hope you're doing well. Is absolutely inexhaustible, extremely agile, mighty, tough, and quick to heal. His sideburns are clean shaven and his very long mustache is neatly combed. His very long beard is arranged in double braids, and his nose bridge is convex and his lips are thin. His cinnamon skin is wrinkled and his amethyst eyes are slightly wide set. His ears are somewhat short and his hair is pale top with flecks of gray. He personally finds the notion that one would persevere through adversity completely abhorrent and believes that the world, that it would be a fine thing if all time were leisure time. Prefers a noisy, bustling life to boring days without activity and dreams of crafting a masterwork someday, and this dream was realized. Finds helping others emotionally rewarding and often finds himself changing his mind to agree with somebody else. He is very easily tends to fall in love and develops positive feelings and has a very calm demeanor. He is very comfortable with others that have that are different from himself, and can be caught up in internal deliberations when action is necessary. He lives a slow-going and leisurely pace and doesn't stick with things even if minor difficulties arise. He does not easily hate or develop negative feelings, and he is not inherently proud of his talents and accomplishments. He doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living, and he is conflicted by this since he values harmony as an intellectual concept. He is somewhat quarrelsome, and he is conflicted by this for more than one reason, and he is brave in the face of imminent danger. He doesn't try to get things done perfectly, and he tends to avoid crowds, and he has a greedy streak and often feels discouraged, and generally acts with a narrow focus on the current activity. And he needs alcohol to get through the working day, and likes working outdoors and only grumbles mildly at crappy weather. Doesn't really care about anything anymore. The dwarves have alcohol dependent as a tag, and apparently I don't... Okay. That's an interesting number. 10,067. If anybody else wanted a dwarf and I missed it, just pipe up in chat. I'll get you dwarfed. Otherwise, back to work. I guess because I do have spiders infesting this area up here, you can just let them get to work. I'm gonna make a couple extra looms. I don't really want to put them right here, but I really don't have anywhere else to put them currently, so. All I know is that I need a bunch of cloth, and we're gonna need a bunch of bedrooms. So currently, I got bedrooms up here. We're gonna put a bunch of bedrooms down here in this side. Well, actually, we're gonna run into the aquifer. We're gonna run into the aquifer if I go that way. So maybe that's coffins. I guess we just start building bedrooms down here. Dwarf, you please? Raz wants a dwarf. Do you have any preference? And Mapedi also wants a dwarf. Just for reference, the named dwarves currently are DJ Huxley, Belug, Magna, Cutest, Diamond, Hrums, Wait What, Space Pirate, Hops, Falfon, Snail, Stone, Redger, now, Farana, Maffle, aka Rolf, Mirror Hall Clay, and that's the current named ones. Barrel Maker Dwarf? That's not a job. That would be a carpenter? You'll be a minor? I prefer to be a major myself, but well, I'll do what I can. One at a time. You worship Kovist, which is the one male, or no, not the one male. The deity of minerals, jewels, and wealth. Takes the form of a female dwarf. Deity of the Plank of Nations. You're not married or anything. You do have 3 kills. You killed 2 wombats and a troglodyte. You're worried after being unable to acquire anything and lonely after being away from family. She is 65 years old, only 4 years off of 60 nice. Math. And her hair is straight and her very long hair is braided. She has an angular chin and her eyebrows are extremely short. Her eyelashes are short and her lips are thin. Her nose bridge is slightly convex and her ears are somewhat short. Her hair is pale taupe and her skin is cinnamon and her eyes are cobalt. She's incredibly quick to heal and tough. She dreams of mastering a skill and personally views tranquility as one of the highest ideals. Views any show of emotion as offensive and values family and honesty, like selenite, steel, cherry opal, and carambola wood. Coral and the color green, and short swords and cages and rabbits for their ears, and opa for their coloration, and the sound of the Carillion silkiness, and when possible prefers to consume giant grasshopper, guava wine, and whip vine seeds. Hates large roaches. Is always tense and jittery after experiencing trauma in 215, and generally finds herself hopeful about the future. Tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals and rarely feels discouraged. Is quick to anger and generally generally acts impartially and is rarely moved to mercy. She can easily fall in love and develop positive feelings and is somewhat uncomfortable around those that appear unusual or live differently from herself, and can have an active imagination, is quite polite and thinks she is fairly important in the grand scheme of things. She is not particularly interested in what others think of her, and she holds her breath when she's nervous and tends to stare unwaveringly when she's speaking to somebody, and needs alcohol to get through the working day. Doesn't really care about anything anymore. So that's first one. Second one is Raz, will be a minor. Raz feels satisfied at work but lonely after being away from family for too long, and doesn't feel anything about being unable to acquire something for too long. 81 years old, born on the 19th of Slate in the year 138, casual worshiper of the Mishos of Tin. What is that? Deity of the Plank of Nations, takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with hunting in mountains. I don't think I've seen that one before. Interesting. You have a pet alpaca. He is 81 years old, born on the 19th of Slate in the year 138. His hair is curly and his very long sideburns are neatly combed. His very long mustache is neatly combed and his very long beard is arranged in double braids, and his medium-length hair is tied in a ponytail. His somewhat broad, short ears have nearly fused lobes, and his nose bridge is convex, and his broad chin, and he has a broad chin, and his eyebrows are short, and his lips are thin, and his eyelashes are short, and his cinnamon skin is slightly wrinkled. His hair is pale taupe with a touch of gray, and his eyes are jade. I gotta say, something that's very fun to do, take these descriptions of dwarves and put them into DALL-E Mini, the little image generating AI. It's fun. You should try it sometime. He is very strong. He likes Gabbro steel and blue garnet, bayberry wood and giant hamster leather, masked lovebird bone, bolts, quivers, and scepters, and horses for their strength. Firemen for their licks of fire and the words of the fated oblivion. You seem to be an edgy motherfucker. And when possible, prefers to consume tuber beer, fisherberry seeds, and absolutely hates bats. No vampires. Personally, sees power over others as something to strive for and values sacrifice, values peace over war, and values artwork and dreams of raising a family. Never feels hatred towards anyone or anything, and takes offered help and gifts without feeling particularly grateful. Has a calm demeanor, intends to consider what others think of him, and likes to take it easy, and is somewhat fearful in the face of imminent danger. Could be considered rude, and is somewhat quarrelsome. He is bothered by this since he values friendship, and he is quite comfortable with others that have a different appearance or culture, and he needs alcohol to get through the working day, and likes being outdoors and only grumbles mildly at crappy weather and doesn't really care about anything anymore, and is currently mining away. Who have I missed? Mapeti, you want a metal worker. Let's give you a legendary armorer, Mapeti. You've killed 2 naked mole dogs, not clothed mole dogs, in I-N-G-I-Z. I-N-G-I-Z. Ingiz is Ma-Eti. She feels satisfied at work satisfied after producing a masterwork, and satisfied at work, but was uneasy after being unable to acquire things. Okay. Sorry, a lot of reading in the last 20 minutes. She is 70 years old, born in the 2nd of Obsidian in the year 142. Is a worship of Glenlith Beguiled Stretch the Frightful Strangeness, which, of course, is a very popular deity of the Plank of Nations. Most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with torture and misery. So, you know, heavy metal. Let's go. Torture and misery. God of sadness. Also, the count has been ripped, so chat, please restart count. Get it back up to 300 wherever we were at. Once again, you've killed 2 naked mole dogs. 77 years old, born on the 2nd of Obsidian in the year 142. His very long hair is tied in a ponytail, and his brass eyes have large irises. His somewhat narrow, short ears have small lobes. Her quite long eyebrows are extremely sparse, and her lips are thin. Her nose bridge is slightly convex, and her hair is pale taupe, and her skin is cinnamon. She likes sandstone, pig, iron, aquamarine, chipmunk leather, and jute paper, and the sound of the festive sparkles, and the sight of the lilac of poets, and when possible prefers to consume barley wine, not bayberry, and can't stand bats. She personally doesn't respect a society that is settled into harmony without debate and strife, and doesn't feel strongly about the law. Dreams of creating a great work of art and can be caught up in internal deliberations when action is necessary. Finds humor in most situations and doesn't try to get things done perfectly, and does not go out of her way to help others, and doesn't seek out excitement and rarely feels discouraged. Tends to make a small mess with her own possessions and doesn't handle stress well. Likes to brawl and generally acts impartially and is rarely moved to mercy. Has a greedy streak and always stretches her head when she's trying to remember something. Needs alcohol to get through the working day and does not mind being outdoors at least for a time and doesn't really care about anything anymore. I'm gonna go top off my coffee because there's some extra coffee on the counter. I will be back in a moment. All right, I have returned successfully from topping off my coffee. Also added a little bit of almond milk to it. But yes, no, this is a very lively, active fort. The kind of, like I said, major goal maybe has just shifted because I do quite like that dwarf that has become queen. And it also, like, really shows just how small this faction is. So... Also, Bastet needs a sub if anybody's feeling generous. We're making Coke from Botanimous Coal just because I've got Coke everywhere. Might as well make it. Let's continue queuing up weapon traps, which are just made out of literally whatever materials. Weapon traps. I've just got so many discs. Raz, thank you very much for gifting 169 subs total in the channel, and for gifting a sub to Bastet. Cheers, dude. Making large serrated copper discs and large serrated glass discs. The glass discs will be much more effective, but the copper discs will also do damage, so. That's what matters, is that they do damage. And then we will station the army down here to fight. That's going to be how it's going to work. But we got to work on more bedrooms. Because, like I said, we're going to be getting migrants. So we got to work on more bedrooms. So what I'm thinking we do is kind of make a little hallway going out this way. Although there's also the option of just making it like a nice pattern, so maybe we'll do that. Well, thank you for swinging by. I'm glad people like them. It's nice to be able to make stuff that people actually, you know, remember and care about. I've been making content on the internet for so long, and I've finally, like, found stuff that people actually like. And that's kind of nice. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, there's definitely a lot of years worth of stuff that I made that nobody remembers. So it's a really nice, different path to be on, I'll say. We're probably also going to run into... Probably also going to run into Dwarvens. Why is my phone? Nothing of value. Okay. Let's push you one further back. Do this. Do that. I think that'll just be for the beginning bit. And we'll let that work. Do its job. Late beer? Better late than never. And it looks like Rolf, the dwarf, has suddenly withdrawn from society as a stoneworker. Forgotten Beast is bullying more troglodytes, it looks like. You know, one problem with this stream schedule is there is a Q&A on a Discord for a podcasting crew that I support on Patreon. They do Q&As once a month, but they always do them on, like, at this time on a Thursday. And it's like, I will literally never be able to go there. Hey, look, a mountain gnome has guzzled some beer. Bad news is I have no beer now. Good news is the mountain gnome just guzzled it. Did you literally guzzle it out of Space Pirate's hands? He literally fucking just, they literally just walked up to the dwarf that was carrying beer and drank their beer. That is brazen. I respect it. My mayor wants earrings. All right, let's follow Rolf. Where are you at? Picking up leather from the looks of things. When you're thirsty, you're thirsty. I mean, it's just funny that they, like, knocked a dwarf over and drank the booze out of his thing. Gnomes are weird in Dwarf Fortress because they're intelligent, but they can't speak. They're kind of like kobolds. They're like non-violent, non-hostile kobolds. And they're literally just like mini dwarves. It'd be like a bunch of mini humans showed up and ate all of your food. And not like children, like fully grown mini humans. Like that one guy on YouTube or on Twitter who just like posts short videos of himself being creepy. Whatever his name is. Yeah, drunk mini humans showed up and ate all your food. And then refused to pay for it because they don't speak your language and then they leave. All right, so claimed a craftsdwarf shop and grabbed ropery, cloth, logs, yak leather, and 2 pieces of coal. Good luck. Bumped into dwarf. Glug, 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 runs away. Sounds like kids. Pretty much, but they're not related to humans. Actually, it would be like a bunch of monkeys showed up and ate all of your food. They're not quite kids, but they still ate all your food. Apparently I have a bunch of troglodytes and such around. Anyway, moving everything up to a slightly different pasture. Teenagers eat all the food. Drunk mini humans. Yep. I mean, I certainly ate all the food when I was a teenager living at home. And now it's summer. But I moved out pretty early, so my parents didn't have to tolerate me for too long. Now they just miss me, and they're very obvious about missing me. As we wait for the game to do things. I literally just make them train on and off manually. I don't use schedules, mostly because I find the UI annoying, so I just don't bother. But usually if you do want to set up schedules, I think that 3 months on, 1 month off is a pretty good schedule for training on and off. And then as far as patrol routes go, they're not necessary unless you're literally cranking the map size up to its maximum outside of roleplay. Honestly, I don't think that they really need to craft things, but what I do think is... My mountain gnome is fighting. Oh. You literally fell off my fucking wall. From what I can tell with military, what's really good for them is if you take them off training but leave them in uniform so that they can't actually craft, and then just have a bunch of public guild halls and they go and hang out in those, which is usually what I do. So I'll just like manually go up here and just like take them off of training and just let them go hang out in my guild halls, and then they go just do that thing. But also, if they want to be crafting things, they probably shouldn't be in the military, because usually what you want for your military is you really want to have dwarves that dream of mastering a skill. So instead of dreaming of crafting a masterwork, which is what pushes them to want to craft, you want them to dream of mastering a skill so they get the best thoughts out of just learning stuff and teaching stuff, which is a really good route to go with your military. So that's kind of what you should be targeting with your military, is dwarves that dream of mastering a skill, because that's just, you know, the most efficient thing you could have from them. So that's my advice with military training schedules, is outside of RP, they're not that important, but also all you really need is to get them to legendary, and then don't worry about it. I should probably increase the priority on this just to get them started. And then, so they've been collecting a lot of thread. It's not Monday. Still not Monday. Let's do, Maffle, Rolf, the stoneworker, has created Does Seb Sir Nargogiz, a botanimous coal figurine of Thob Breach Hearths, and claims it as a family heirloom. It's worth 10,800. Smeared Veil, the Raw Holes. It's a figurine of Thob. All crafts dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is a masterfully designed image of Thob, the dwarf, in botanimous coal by Rolf. Thob is laboring. The artwork relates to the settling of Thob in Threatdweller in the mid-autumn of 214. It is encrusted with rectangular botanimous coal cabochons and encircled with bands of leather and feather wood rope. Read. This object menaces with spikes of coal. I have hiccups. And sandpear wood. On the item is an image of an icohedra in sandpear wood. Of all the times you played the fort, you've never attracted visitors. You wanted to reside in a fort for soldiering. Is there a direct issue to this to happen more often? You're making a tavern, right? You're making an inn? Because if you're not making an inn, you won't get any visitors. Display furniture. Let's make a pedestal. But yeah, that would be my knee-jerk response, is like, you are in fact doing that, right? There you go. I'm gonna go work on digging now. But it's often bards and performers. Oh, so you're asking about like military visitors? You want like mercenaries and stuff? You need to have a lot of combat in order to get interesting visitors of that sort. Gleekus, our kobold friend, is back. This kobold has tried to rob our stuff like 3 times a year. Oh man. Well, there goes that dream. Damp stone located. Just not even gonna bother. Just go down to, like, here, maybe. Do the exact same thing. Yeah, you need to have some pretty crazy threats around to get mercenaries, but, I mean, there is no, like... what's the word? There is no... Like, this is what you need to do to attract this type of visitors in Dwarf Fortress. You won't get that type of visitors if there aren't those types of people around, right? So, I don't know. Generate a new world. Or go to a very different part of the world and build a fort there would be my advice in that regard. It's one of those weird things where they're like, it's Dwarf Fortress. There really is no, this is how you do this thing. It's kind of just you can build that type of fort, but there is no, like, one trick on how to invite this type of visitor into a fort in Dwarf Fort. It's the reason that the same reason that I will make 15 forts and never see a single gremlin, and then suddenly I'll make a fort and there will be 35 gremlins in like an hour. It's just how Dwarf Fortress works. There we go. That'll be this zone. Maybe I can, like, delete these two in the middle and do something out this way. There we go. We'll do something like that. Make, like, one bigger bedroom on the edge. And we can do all the doors after it's done digging out. Well, that fort attracted 2 titans and a hydra and several forgotten beasts. Have you dug down to the caverns? I find I never get beast hunters or mercenaries unless the caverns are open. And by that I mean like all 3 layers. Not just like a layer of caverns, like they all need to be open. All right, let's let them dig that out. But I don't know. Dwarf Fortress isn't really like a one and done kind of thing. It depends on the part of the world you're in and what else happens to be around that part of the world. So you need to be close to other civs that have those type of people, and they need to be people that want to travel. If you just happen to not be, good luck. Or if your faction happens to not be, then good luck. It's Dwarf Fortress. It's not a exact science. I guess you could, like, generate high savagery worlds and settle somewhere dense. Dig down to the caverns and do all that. But just because you've attracted a lot of enemy armies and titans doesn't mean you necessarily have an appealing place for monster hunters and mercenaries. All right, so silk, sock, 60 silk socks. Time to start making clothing. Oh, that's the problem. Like, that's the right hotkey. Why is it not working? My neighbor's doing laundry because I suddenly smell laundry detergent. And the exhaust is pretty close to where my AC outputs, so. Or intake is. So now the question is, how long does it take for my little sister to realize that I gifted her Stray? Give it like 3 days, because she doesn't launch Steam very often. Unless she's going to play The Sims. I will say after finishing Stray, there's some things about that game that I think maybe aren't as good as people are saying they are, but solid little game. It was definitely a nice change of pace from the normal games that come out. It's nice to play something different. Although I think my favorite user review of Stray is still just, this appeals to my male fantasy of being a cat. All right. So it looks like we have struck more malachite in here, which is fine. Just go around it. Also, all these pink tourmalines, which are definitely orange. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about the fort or Dwarf Fort in general, just feel free to shout. The nice thing about this particular fort is that it's actually like a normal speed, normal size fort, so there's constantly stuff happening. Unlike Long Death, which is like, Long Death is great, and I really, really, really enjoy Long Death, but it's very much a, you know, less weird shit happens. Also, do you ever just like get ridiculously excited for something that you shouldn't be? But I'm ridiculously excited for this to come out. Anybody else play this back in the day? Because this was my shit when I was like 12. This game? I don't even know what year it originally came out, but it was this old Acclaim published kart racer, but they're remote control cars. I'm so excited for this to come out. I'm gonna buy this and play this off stream. I'm gonna play the shit out of this. So excited for Revolt. So excited. Also, if anybody wants to play online, I think it works online. Does it have online support? I know it has LAN. If anybody wants to play through Steam Play Together, shout at me. The humans are here to trade. Fortunately, I've got many spiky copper balls to sell them. We're also definitely going to get sieged. But I think I'm just going to cheat because I don't really have much in the way of food. So I'm just going to sell them some prepared food barrels. Also, chat, we're a little lurky. Can I get a round of beers? If you're listening to the stream, just type in the word beer. Let's see how many beers we can get. Just got to keep that chat moving. Your cheese running? Trying to beat that score? That game is such a rush when you win, though. Feels so good. Feels so good. Hello, Oathguard. Welcome to the channel. But enjoy your lurks. I won't call you out. And you're welcome to keep lurking. I just do that to make sure that my stream's still working and to keep the chat moving, because chat, it's a thing. And these humans are going to be unloading for a bit. Have any of those socks started being made? Yay, they're making socks. So hopefully they can start acquiring stuff. I'm going to put a pedestal into the mayor's office, and we're going to use that to pretty it up. Is that really just like, yeah, that's really a spot that just needs to be smoothed. Just waiting for this to get placed so that I can put a artifact on it to increase the value. Okay, hold on a second. Did you actually do what I think you did there? No. Okay, so those are literally rough citrines on the floor. Got it. These dwarves are mining this out. Can trade with these humans. Brought us some electrum. A lot of whips and bucklers and shields. really know what to buy from them, being honest. I'm just gonna buy all this thread, actually. Thread and yarn, we'll buy. Let's buy some leather. The cloth. Rope reed cloth. Apockable cloth. Trade that. Done. Nice little trading session. Actually, we could also sell them coke. I don't know how much coke sells for, but we're gonna sell them coke because I've got a lot of coke. And I'm also not using any of it because all of my metal is being produced at magma forges. So I don't actually need the coke. But because we got so much coal, I'm just making coke because it's free, so. Sweet mug. It's been in my family for a very long time. It's probably older than me. It lived in my parents' camper for a couple decades, I think. And then they sold the camper at the beginning of the pandemic to just kind of get it out of the driveway. And they asked me if I wanted anything out of the camper, and I took a small pot, a spatula, and this. It's a very large mug, and it's very nice. We've got a surgeon who dreams of mastering a skill. Is prone to strong feelings of lust. We have a migrant wave. Doesn't focus on material goods. Isn't particularly interested in what others think of him. Huh. Skin is cinnamon, 60 years old. And you can go join the military. Also have a trader that dreams of crafting a masterwork someday who's fearful in the face of imminent danger. Well, I need a weaving clothes maker who does furnace operating, so. If you're a carpenter who dreams of crafting a masterwork someday, generally doesn't seek retribution for past wrongs. Has no kills. I'm gonna give you mining. And all of the metalsmithing. We have a wood burner, which is useless to us. Rare fleeting emotional bonds with others. So I'm going to make you into a glass maker, which is very useful to us. Another woodcutter. Dreams of mastering a skill. Investments are open. Chat, heads up. After killing your keyboard with coffee, you're fearful of large mugs. I've never killed a keyboard with liquids. So, I don't ever intend to start. I have, however, killed a keyboard with other things. Heavy objects is one of them. I killed a keyboard by dropping a flight stick on it. Back when I had a sim stick, but... you just go join the military, yo. You're a beekeeper. Dreams of mastering a skill. As long as you're not afraid, join the military. That's just a duckling. Okay. Presser has an overbearing personality and tends to avoid crowds and is fearful in the face of imminent danger. Mood. Needs alcohol to get through the working day. Very simple dwarf. I like it. Let's give you weaving. And armoring, blacksmithing, and metal crafting. So that brings us up to 68 Dwarf. That's pretty good. Turns out coke is almost worthless. I'll trade all of this for a silver bar. Magna has become a sword master. Yeah, we'll just let them start working on rock blocks again. Good lord. I clearly have a lot of coke. Just gonna give it to them as gifts. The mayor wants me to make 1 earring. I'll make him 2. And the Swords Dwarf is throwing a tantrum. That's bad. You were not that depressed last time I looked. Well, seems like you've gotten depressed. Well, let's remove you from the military. Runs into the middle of the military and does what? The engraver attacks the Axe Lord, but he rolls away. The Axe Lord punches the engraver in the upper left back teeth with his right hand, and the severed part sails off in an arc. The engraver punches the Axe Lord in the thumb in the right hand, tearing apart the skin. The force pulls the right hand, tearing apart the fat and bruising the bone, and tearing apart the right elbow's muscle and bruising the bone. A ligament has been torn. And then the Axe Lord punches the engraver in the right foot with his left hand, bruising the bone through the cave spider's silk shoe, and the force twists the right ankle, tearing apart the muscle and tearing apart the muscle, and Tun, who tantrumed, said, I've been injured badly, I feel hopeless. Well, you shouldn't have fucking attacked the Axe Lord, you dumbass. Was it very smart? I mean, literally attack the best person you could possibly attack, because, like, they're not going to take much damage and also just going to kind of walk it off. Also, they're coming back. Watch him do it again. Okay, no, he's done tantruming now. That's well done, Tun. Well done. We'll let you get tended to in the hospital before we give you your proper sentence. Here come the doctors. Let's see what you need. Ability to stand lost. Right ankle is torn open from getting punched in the ankle. It's literally the worst person you could attack. Not even joking. That's one of the worst people you could possibly have attacked. How much silk am I up to? Cloth. 131. How much cloth am I up to, rather? Sheep's wool. Cave spider silk. Okay. Hemp cloth. Let's do wool. I guess it's yarn glove. Oh, this is new. Also, there is a dwarf over here for some reason. The giantess Sibylla has come. A gigantic creature resembling a human, almost unparalleled in its size. Oh, that's interesting. Seems like we'll have a lot of time, though. But what I'm thinking is I pull this lever, and I lock everybody in the burrow, and I tell both the military squads to go stand here. Chat, can I get a round of beers for all these dwarves about to go to war? Exciting times we live in. A giantess is beating up a poet. And the poet said, hold on. The giantess attacks the poet, but she jumps away. The poet punches the giantess in the right hand with her right hand. The force bends the wrist. The giantess throws the poet by the upper back teeth with the giantess's right hand. Grabs him by the mouth, I guess, and throws him. The giantess releases the grip of the giantess's right hand from the poet. The giantess punches the poet in the upper... okay. And then the giantess grabs the poet by the right upper arm with her right hand, and the giantess punches the poet in the head with her hand, and the injured part collapses. And an artery has been opened by the attack, and the giantess says, Death. This is truly horrifying. How fleeting life is, begone fear. Okay, where's our giant at? Running around at the base of the waterfall at the far end of the hill. Oh, and Sesta Loststand wishes to become a citizen in Threatdweller, yes, and so does Dakost, which is good. Those are 2 poets that joined a while ago. I mean, it's their own fault. And Reg also. You know, maybe I should just go tell the dwarves to go kill this thing. Because it's too busy chasing wombats over a mountaintop. Is it carrying anything? No, it's covered in poet's blood and its own tears. Got it. Let's just send the military to go get him. Since it's not super interested in, you know, staying close by. It seems to be trying to corner a wombat in this old mine shaft. They certainly briefly reached a stalemate. Not the frame rate, it's literally, it's reached a stalemate with this wombat. Seems to have caught the wombat, but she jumped away. Now it seems to have given up. Where the hell's my military at? Guys, this is a big map. Oh, here they are. So the first dwarves to get into combat are Inual and Yusteth. And they've reached our giant here. The axe dwarf hacks the giantess in the foot with her Rur Sacrum, tearing the muscle. The sword dwarf slashes the giantess on the lower leg with her short sword, tearing the muscle. The force pulls the knee. The axe dwarf hacks the giantess in the head, tearing the muscle and bending the neck. Blood goes everywhere. That's a lot of blood, and the giantess is dead. The axe dwarf hacks at the giantess in the head with her rackham, and the injured part is cloven asunder, so the axe dwarf got it. And then Eustace, the axe dwarf, says, "Our time in the planets of prophecy is so brief. This does not scare me." And shoutouts to Eustace for killing the giantess in 219. And F's for that poor poet. Also, thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in and is hanging out. Nice to have a crowd here. Here's everyone. The YouTube channel's been doing very well, so I just kind of assume that a lot of people are coming over from YouTube, but thank you. I mean, that poet just decided to enter the map at the wrong corner of the map and just got, you know, giant splatted pretty quickie. So, suboptimal for long-term life. Also, 26 people have joined the game jam. That's, again, kind of rad. Kind of rad. And it's people I don't know. But the human merchants who were here for a while are leaving soon. I love how we're getting all of these citizenship requests. DJ Huxley Fur, the elf, wants to join. That goblin wants to join. Tired Rock Itun, very dwarfy name, wants to join. Let's jump over to that goblin. Dreams of ruling the world. Just straight up. Personally values decorum, dignity, and proper behavior, and sees introspection as important, is completely unmoved by art or the beauty of nature, and never acts without prolonged deliberation, even to his own detriment, and the harm of those around him. After seeing the dwarf, I.R. Stupid die in 217. He is prone to hatreds and often develops negative feelings and dislikes helping others, is sometimes cruel and does not generally respond to emotional appeals. I like goblins. Goblins are cool. What color is this goblin? Let's find out. This is a... his hair is extremely long. He is incredibly skinny. His head is extremely narrow. And he has a clear voice, and his ears are short. His hair is carmine, and his skin is gray, and his eyes are red. A gray boy. 356 years old, one of the first of his kind. He worships Evaz of the Book of Conjurers. Most often takes the form of a male dwarf and is associated with minerals. So this is a very dwarfy goblin, seems like. Is a member of the Bronze Seas and is a member of the Tin Domination and a member of the Plank, a citizen of the Plank of Nations, is a member of the Ancient Board, a former member of the Hate of Praises. Oh, hey, we were at war with them in the other faction. And a former member of the Failed Thief and a former member of the Deep Witch. And arrived at Glot-Tob-Kokeb in the year 217. Now the year 219. Is there a crime happening? What's going on? Oh, I see. They're all stuck. That was suboptimal for a moment there. Look at this crowd of critters all going for the coke. Turns out having a whole bunch of things set to be brought to the trading depot and then turning on a burrow is a bad idea. A real bad idea. Completely breaks all of their pathing temporarily. Ah, well. Merchants are going off on their own journey anyway. Got a lot of thread being put together. Anyway, we got this 11 counts of disorderly conduct against Tun, the engraver. Apparently we have wounded. Apparently one of my military dwarves is wounded. I was unaware that you had wounds. Huh. You were brought to rest in bed. Has no wounds. Well, that's weird. Let's check to make sure all the jobs are active still. Pull the lever. More petitions? Nah, I don't need more. I don't need more permanent residents, thanks. Alright, who's captain of the guard, though? There's a Tekid that's a captain of the guard. There you are. Currently making a large serrated green glass disc. Need you to go chain somebody up. Anyway, chat. Hope you guys are all having a solid week and a good Thursday so far. It's just been bloody hot over here to the point where, like, my brain isn't working properly. Like, last night, I turned my AC off because my AC brought my apartment down to 19 degrees, and I was like, I can just close the window, and it'll stay cool in here, right? Because, you know, it's after dark. And I turned my AC off, and then I went and took a shower. And by the time I got out of my shower, my apartment had gone from, you know, about 18, 19 degrees Celsius to 31. In not a very long period of time. It was maybe a 20-minute shower. It's kind of ridiculous right now. Not a fan. I don't envy anybody who's having to deal with this heat without AC, because I wouldn't be able to deal with it without AC. I know there's some people that are just like, ah, man up, but no, I'd be dead. I'd be dead. I'd be in the hospital. That's just kind of a fact. Wouldn't be fun. So, happy that AC exists, even if it's massively wasteful. Unfortunately, it's the only option I have. So going around the outside here will let me do all of these bedrooms. How did I do this? I did that there, and then you there, and then this. Trying to mirror it. All right, sweet. I can get dwarves digging. They'll dig all these out, all these little bedrooms out. Another pale hunter is visiting. Weirdos. Checking the cloth stocks. Crawling down. Good amounts of cave spider silk. How many of those socks have I made? Not really that many. Make 50 silk robes once we're able. Let them dig at all these, and then I'm going to set all this to be smoothed. And we'll have more bedrooms. Actually, how many beds am I sitting on? Beds. Make 120 beds. Got a lot of beds that need making. But yeah, anything that can get the chat moving at this point is very helpful, because we're extremely lurky. You know, it's been multiple 10-minute stretches without anything being said in the chat. If I didn't ask for that round of beers, it would be about 25 minutes now. So anything to keep chat moving is helpful and appreciated at this point. I've got a dwarf tantruming up here. It's the one that's tantrumed before, and he's still tantruming. Put that there, that there, that there, that there. Don't put that there. Before artifacts start getting stolen more than they already do. I mean, posting more beers isn't conversation. I'm looking for any kind of conversations. It's the same dwarf who's tantruming again, yeah. He didn't punch the captain of the guard, but he punched the military. Basically the same thing, I guess. It's this dwarf. Ran off and punched somebody else now. Fortunately, not a very strong dwarf. Yeah, he just now he punched the captain of the guard, actually. So I've now got 3 more cases of disorderly conduct against this dwarf. Going to have to go make a sock, are you? Well, you just extended your sentence by a beating, so. First beat up the military, now beat up the captain of the guard. So has earned a beating on top of a normal prison sentence. Which I'm sure is, like, you know, great for your long-term livability, I suppose. Chooses to be punished. It's just like, I've had a bad time. Let's make it worse. Wheel. Although we do need to wait for the captain of the guard to get out of the hospital, so there is that. Because he's kind of hospitalized right now. What, people go after the worst possible person to go after? I mean, I guess. Most assassination attempts are kind of that. But I got all of that stuff that needs to be worked on. Man, so much shit getting put away and done. We need more dwarves to get all these jobs done. Like, I'm sitting here on, like, 0 idlers most of the time. Meanwhile, this dwarf is hauling a... Mirror Clay is hauling a dead giant, so... Well done. Someone has to. We're running low on plant. We're going to push this up to high priority and gather all of the plants, damn it. It's almost like they made the choices for the worst possible outcome. Yeah, well, Is what it is. Still making coke. And we got stuff that, you know, needs to be put away for a bit. I'm actually going to need to start farming soon, which is kind of a weird thing to say for this fort. Going to need to start farming. To a point where I'm kind of thinking about, like, cutting into this cavern layer a little bit. And trying to dig down here. The problem is, there's a lot of forgotten beasts down here. And they have access to, more zinc ore. And they have access to this cavern layer. So if I break into there, there's like 4 forgotten beasts waiting for me. So potentially up to 4 forgotten beasts waiting for me, which is sketch and scary. And not something I necessarily want to do unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, at this point, anything that keeps the chat moving is greatly appreciated. But yeah, we'll just let them start smoothing that. And it looks like they are getting to work. Items are getting put on display. I haven't put Tun in prison yet, but they did beat him, so that's good. First part of punishment has been served. And I'm going to throw that giant's corpse into lava. Because that's about all it deserves. So let's follow this giant and watch it get thrown into lava. Because that seems like a fun thing to watch. Sooner rather than later, they will run over and grab the corpse, or somebody will. Just got so much work that all needs doing right now that these dwarves are going to be busy for a bit. It's just going to be a chill hangout fort for the next 20 minutes while all these tasks get slowly completed. Let's see how long it takes them to pick up this body. My bet is it sits here for a couple weeks. Time God is beating officially now. Sorry if I'm just kind of like ignoring that statement, Frog, about people make the worst choices. It's not really a subject I'd like to elaborate on. I think obvious reasons. Self-destructive nature in people is not a pleasant one. Why does that dwarf tantrum? Because they're upset. Why are they upset? Because there isn't enough clothes around. Because they're easily stressed. There he goes again. But now tantruming in prison. You need coffee? Back lurking for a minute? I was gonna say everybody, not just you, has been lurking for the last 30, so that won't change much. Just putting in some doors. Yeah, no, this dwarf I think just needs to be locked in the prison cell because they're a problem. They're a menace to society. Yeah, no, we've been short on. One of the problems with not actually farming anything, the way I'm running this fort, is it's pretty hard to get a collection of different threads from plant fibers, and because we don't have access to the deeper cavern layers right now, there also isn't a lot of, plants that I can easily make into food around, so I'm gonna slaughter the bull and a donkey. So because of that, it just kind of means that... It just kind of means that we're going to run into a few issues there, but it is what it is. think I can stop making rock pots for the time being. Keep them collecting sand. Keep them working on the glass discs. Keep working on the socks. Keep working on the robes, the gloves, all that jazz. I don't think I need to make the rock pots for a bit. Sorry, Dwarf, but you beat too many people. We're just gonna lock your door until you cease being a dwarf. And there we go. Giant is getting thrown off the cliff again. I think that happy accidents are a myth created by a lovely painter, but I don't believe that any accidents are happy. Accidents are usually a destructive, sad instance to be in. What the heck is rotting? Oh. Right, that that poet that got exploded by the by the giant. Right, of course. Also, was that a dead cat? That is in fact a dead cat. Okay. That is the cat that died a while ago. Giant explosion? Well, the giant didn't explode, but the, what's it called? Poet that encountered the giant at the edge of the map got their head exploded when they got punched in the head by the giant. Which is a pretty common occurrence when you challenge a giant to a boxing match, when you're not a giant. Or a military person. And he fought the giant, and the giant won by making heads explode. So, you know. I mean, let's just hope that that was a bad singer, right? Like, let's just hope that that poet was bad. Like, have you ever been looking at thoughts and moods of your dwarves in a tavern and then realized that they're all getting negative moods from the singing of the poets and the bards? It's like, oh, the bards are singing badly, and their mood is worse because of it. That's always been something that's been like something I'm a fan of, is when you see their moods actively getting worse because there's a poet singing. It's one of my favorite mood traits to like encounter. You know what? You have too many jobs. I'm gonna remove a bunch of these jobs from you. We'll keep you on the healthcare stuff, but I'm going to give you plant gathering, plant processing, and cooking, because I need more dwarves like that. This is like, it is disgusted upon hearing poetry. And like, I've seen dwarves get disgusted upon when there's things singing around them. Did I miss an artifact? Got a dwarf that's oblivious to reality over here. That's a shame. It might be good riddance. I mean, it's just a poet. I mean, if it was like an interesting character, I'd be sad, but it's just a poet. Plump Helmet Man is getting eviscerated by a Forgotten Beast. The Forgotten Beast kicks the Plump Helmet Man in the head with his front paw, and the severed part sails off in an arc. Aw, poor Plump Helmet Man. Poor guy didn't deserve that. Right, well, that's going to take a little bit of work, but it'll get done sooner rather than later. Autumn has come. Because I ought to know him. That didn't even work. I'm really weirded out by the fact that AI Dungeon is releasing on Steam. Like, actually, hold up. AI Dungeon is out on Steam? Yeah, you can buy AI Dungeon on Steam, apparently. That's weird, man. That's so weird. Apparently it's got a pixel art generator in it. Huh. Anyway, autumn has come. Should unpause. So yeah, add that to the list of weird things that you can now buy on Steam. You can now buy AI Dungeon on Steam. If you ever felt the need to purchase AI Dungeon for some reason. Oh. Tanning hides, dumping items. It's mostly just the old rotten stuff that gets dumped. So Stone, how's your cheese running been? Had any particularly good runs of cheese? I'm quite pleased that I'm back up to number 9 on the leaderboard. I feel like if you just get like a 30 million score, you're pretty much solidified. You got killbotted, boo. I feel like once you get like a 30 something score, like you're pretty much just good to go on that leaderboard for forever ever. There's so much luck involved in that game though, it's a bit ridiculous. All right, I got a bunch of stuff to unforbid. All right, well, 68 dwarves making leather gloves. Working on those silk robes, working on those yarn gloves, working on those leather gloves. At least everybody will have gloves. How are we doing on cloth? 53. The amount of cloth we have has dropped significantly. To the point where I'm basically out of spider silk. Which means I need all of my weavers to continue collecting webs. I think it's kind of interesting that all of these recent additions to the fortress are just making blocks all the time. But I'm going to take the mayor off all of this stuff that you can go actually do mayor duties. So something that... Cloud Gulf has no civilized population. Seasons and the Sun is an artifact that's there. I'm kind of thinking about maybe going after some stuff that's not got people in them anymore. Trying to get a few books into this fort. Kind of thinking about it. No civilized population, but there's a book there, yeah. Let's bring the rest of these blocks. There we go. Work on some more construction up here. There's too much construction to work on and too much other things to do in this fort. There's too much of everything to be done in this fort. These dwarves need a break. Like, bad. excited remembering performing. What if I made you into a performer in the tavern and removed most of your other tasks? You don't seem to be happy at work, and you don't seem to like doing anything except for performing, so we're gonna let you go perform. Yeah, I'm just trying my best to maintain focus today, because, like, my air conditioning can keep the temperature down in the other room in this apartment pretty well. But I'm in, like, the back room of the apartment. There's, like, no ventilation in here. So even with the AC on, it's still, like, stuffy and hot in here. Akimi, you hungry? Are you responding to things I said 10 minutes ago? What game? Not sure what you're referring to, so looks like they're finally going out to start gathering plants. Oh, yeah, there you go. It's like, I have no idea what you're talking about when you just say thing out of context like that. I guess what I really need is I need, I need an area. Oh, hey. Wilmer! The outpost liaison has arrived, as well as the dwarves who are here to trade, which is very good. Let's sell all of our crappy old footwear. Bunch of cut gems. And a whole lot of coke. Because I don't own a fan. And I don't really have anywhere to store a fan. I used to own a fan. And then it got just old and ceased to function properly. So I don't use it. Well, I mean, I don't use it because I don't have it anymore. I used to own a fan, but it used to pick up on the stream, and well, it wasn't super bad. I mean, my noise gate's pretty efficient, but I don't use a fan, no, because I don't have a fan. I would need a fan in order to be able to use a fan. There we go. There we go. But apologies. I feel like I'm trying to just force chat today, but, like, it's not my fault that chat is, like, you know, super goddamn lurky today. Wilmer says, I'm your liaison from the mountain homes. Let's discuss your situation. There's much to share. We've updated your maps. What requests do you have of our merchants? I need metal. The problem is they don't have the metal that I need, so I'm just gonna ask for silver and bronze, and I guess steel. I want iron because I have fluxstone, but I'm also gonna ask for steel anvils. I don't need to order clothes from them. I just need to get a clothing industry up and running. Ordering clothes is ridiculously expensive and very inefficient. Cloth, yes, but I know they'll bring plenty of cloth. Belug says, I look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together. Poet has been possessed. We'll follow the poet. I don't need rounds of beer, Bastet. I need conversations. I need people to talk. Rounds of beer is just like, cool. All right, well, that doesn't actually help the issue. So posting beer is useful, but if you want to help conversation. Give me something to talk about. Respond to things I'm babbling about. That sort of thing. That Forgotten Beast is still just wrecking shit. Which one is that? Ah, this one. A large civet with external ribs. It's just going around bullying all of the troglodytes. Although to be fair, there is actually enough troglodytes that I'm kind of avoiding them. It's cool when the thing goes on a letter, a lot of them in DF, you know? Oh yeah, no, definitely. A lot of little symbols and things above letters. What's this cheeses game you're talking about? I'll give you a link. It's basically Drug Wars, if you ever played that, but it's $3 and it's on Steam. It's a cyberpunk, buy low, sell high, very RNG-based trading game. I have the caverns sealed, nuclear sneeze. There was a forgotten beast that you had to fight with, which came in through the caverns, and let's just say it killed an entire squad by breathing on them. Not very optimal, unfortunately. Not exactly optimal. Buying leather and cloth. But yeah, I've made several videos of that game. Cajun Bard. It's at that price point too, where it's like the price of a small chocolate bar, so it's super cheap, and because it's super cheap, it's just a very easy thing to be like, hey, buy this and like help us on the leaderboards. Also, in regards to this dwarf, I've locked him in here, so he's gonna die, which I feel bad about doing, but can't deal with that dwarf anymore. Too many tantrums. Yes, it's safe to Google. I think people just refer to them all as umlauts, even though that's not technically grammatically correct. People just refer to all doohickeys above thingies, above letters as umlauts for some reason. Dakust has begun a mysterious construction at the Craftsdwarf's workshop, and they grabbed 3 pieces of coal. Yeah. Figurine of Santa looking pissed. Let's trade up here. We're gonna buy more of the wool and cloth, because cloth and wool is what we need. Make leather shoes, I think. You worked pre-press and shot plates. Set type totally forgot that word. There's a lot of words in the English language and nobody knows all of them, so... Hey, Numberbox, what up, dude? They look identical, but technically an umlaut is a phonological process, not a symbol. Huh. The more you know. I think it's just the more well-known word. I think it's also probably just like an artifact of what Stone just said, which is like it's more just like English people being unaware of how that letter works or that type of lettering works. So I'm gonna buy a bunch of food. Also gonna buy a bunch of plump helmets because I don't actually think I have any in this fort right now. I can get some plump helmet seeds. Yeah, I'll forget that in 10 minutes, Frog. Legendary Krampus figurine. It would be like that that Christmas mod that we played once, where you could play as frost goblins and make like Santa hats and shit. Oh. Bringing in more stuff to distribute back to the mountain home to try and tempt the queen to come here. You think letters are cute? You don't think they're acute? I think they're acute. Reality. Honorable mention is the N. Picture a point. Long time no see, my dude. What's up? It's good to see you're still out and about. How'd you like Star Fox last night? I saw that you were streaming some of that. I gotta say, if you want to play a modern Star Fox, this thing's really good. Really good. And it's like $10. Yeah, it's like $10. You know, I was actually reading about like various what's the word? Non-English alphabet languages being about how poorly supported they are in most OSs. Something that like I never would have encountered outside of Reddit, and then I read a whole Reddit piece on it. Actually, kind of interesting. Basically, like begging Microsoft to support languages better. Okay, sheep's wool. Silk, plant cloth. Okay, let's tell you about it. You're German and you use umlauts a lot. Well, I'm sure you probably know more about umlauts than I do then. Scrolling up a little bit. It was a really fun time. It's one of your favorite games of your childhood. I was a Star Fox on the SNES kid growing up. Not really a Star Fox 64 kid. Dakos, the poet, has created a Botanimous Cole figurine of dwarves. Is it going to be Krampus? And claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor, id Craft Shower. You sure that's not id Software with a lisp? Worth almost nothing. This is a Cole figurine of dwarves. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is a masterfully designed image of dwarves in Botanimous Cole by Dakos. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork relates to the foundation of Threatdweller by the ancient beard of the Plank of Nations in the early spring of 212. It is encrusted with bands of round Botanimous Cole cabochons, and this object is adorned with hanging rings of Botanimous Cole and menaces with spikes of coal. That's what Santa gives you when you in Twubble. Microsoft won't even support the pound sign and passwords? What? Really? Really? Now that's weird to me. That's very strange. All right, well, I can turn off trading with you. You're gonna go manage work orders. Baidu. We actually have plants again. I've got so many jobs getting worked on slowly. My God. You accidentally imported a couple location names written in the Arabic alphabet. It was fun to see our breadcrumbs suddenly start rendering backwards. Solution was get rid of them. Huh. But yeah, no, I was a big fan of Star Fox growing up. It's the cool shit. Loved that game when I was little. I actually owned Star Fox on the 3DS too. Digitally, though. Peaceful vibes of a good biome. Yeah, it's great when all the mountain gnomes show up and drink all my booze. Happens a couple times a year. It's funny, they will literally rip booze out of, like, trading caravans and chug all the alcohol. And then the dwarves will charge me for it, which is even funnier. There's also fairies here. So, you know, it's a good time. You go just slightly underground and then all hell breaks loose. Yo, Picture Point, have you seen those screenshots of Classic, by the way? Of what Classic's gonna look like. So cool. Dude, it looks rad. So stoked. So stoked. I'm just excited to hear that, like, more than anything, Classic might be ready day and date with Premium. Because that means that anybody who doesn't want to pay for it can just go try it for free, which is awesome. An elf poet has been stung by a honeybee. Good riddance. Hope you're allergic. Maybe it'll improve your singing. I think it might be time to give these dwarves a break pretty soon. I mean, like, got, like, no idlers in this entire fort. Gotta go through and just give everybody... or just suspend all of the jobs. I actually don't have that many jobs. You know what, screw it. Let's just go through and suspend everything and give these dwarves, like... maybe a month's break. Take all the military dwarves off training too. We are, however, going to put garbage away first. Can't cancel sleep. Oh, and some migrants arrived. Right on time. Dreams of raising a family, quick to anger, strong cravings, little interest in time. You can just join the military. You brave. Private person, generally finds hopeful about the future. Keeps things orderly, narrow folks current activities, stubborn, changing mind. Okay, yeah, sure. You can also join the military. Extremely confident in herself, requiring her skills. Joins the military. Good win, Cajun. Merchants have embarked on their journey. Got another miner, you can just be a miner. Got another miner, you can also just be a miner. A mechanic? Dreams are creating a great work of art. Sure, we'll need more mechanics. Also give you plant gathering, because that's something I also need more of. Seems to have pushed us up to 75 dwarves. I'm going to slaughter this baby llama. Most of the dwarves are just putting stuff away right now, because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be put away. But once they're all done putting stuff away and dumping stuff, hopefully they'll actually get some breaks, because, damn it, they certainly need it. Anyway, let's take both of these squads off of active training. And, disable both of those so that they can all go do whatever for a little bit. A lot of bones and things are getting thrown into the lava. It's also just like a lot of ore and things that need to get put away, clothing and stuff that needs to get put away, cloth and things that needs to get put away, a lot of auto jobs that need to get done. And this will clear up a large number of overall jobs that are currently getting done. But once a lot of these jobs are done and once all this detailing is done, it'll be good for everybody involved. What are you dumping? Oh, all of the clothing from the goblins. Actually, remove dump from those. Might be wearable. How much did you invest, Taylor? $750? Oh, damn. Sorry. This is going to be my bedroom soon. Or a bedroom layer. Not the bedroom layer, but a bedroom layer. But yeah, no, goal for this fort is to get the queen/king of the faction in my fort. That's the goal. Get the king and queen in my fort. Oh shit, I just got a new patron. It's been a while since I've gotten a new patron. I've only really lost patrons over the past few months. But got an annual patron. That's cool. Am I excited for the hopefully not too distant Steam release? I'm extremely excited. It's nerve-wracking for me because it's, you know, this is my livelihood, right? Creating content about things on the internet that I like. And the reason it's like exciting but also nerve-wracking is this is like my biggest the biggest opportunity I've had in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, I would say, to grow. I maybe had one other opportunity that was similar in size, but I was nowhere near as well positioned to do well when that happened. That would have been the release of RimWorld, leaving early access. I actually didn't do that well. I did all right during that, but not that well. It didn't last very long. It's like I did really well for like a month. The Granite Guild wants a guild hall. You know, I'm going to make this guild hall for the Granite Guild like right here in the middle of this, I'm thinking. Let's just make this flow. That's going to be the Granite Guild. We'll just put some tables and chairs down in the middle of this. The guild hall can be like in the middle of the bedrooms. Because I've got so many engravers. This is going to be an engraver guild. Walled gold. You're cautiously optimistic for the Steam release. The game itself looks amazing. You have no doubts to its quality. It's the community stuff. You just don't know how to judge. In what way? The thing that I'm most concerned about is just fractures in the community. I'm very worried that there's going to be a small, stoic, and annoying group of people who've played the game for a very long time that are going to hate the new UI. Very worried about that. And then I'm also worried about the exact opposite problem of people who are new to the game, buy it when Steam releases, and then proceed to very much dislike it for, you know, the opposite reason. Look at all that great... Who's leading the engraving demonstration? Yo, Sonderbar is leading an engraving demonstration. We literally just built this guild and is leading an engraving demonstration. And they're all satisfied after learning about engraving, which is very good. also going to go to the job screen real quick, and I am going to keep all of them clothing making jobs active. Just finish those first. I'm going to keep all the glass discs and everything else non-permitted. These dwarves need some socializing time, but they're getting it now, which is good. Just don't know how to predict how the DF community will respond and how the larger game community will respond. Well, I'll say this, and this is just maybe not an assumption, but something that I'm worried about is I'm a little bit worried that you're going to see a lot of dead game pretty quickly with Dwarf Fort. Maybe not initially, but once adventure mode is in premium, I have a weird feeling that you're going to see a lot of people complaining that it's a dead game. Just because, like, anybody who's played Dwarf Fortress for more than a month knows how long the breaks between patches can be. And anybody who pays any attention to a lot of mainstream games, you know how frequently they patch, right? I mean, like, I guess you could say that RimWorld doesn't get patches super frequently, but, like, Dwarf Fortress goes, like, years sometimes between patches, so I'm a little cautiously concerned about how that's going to go, but I don't know. I'm not too worried. I think it overall will go just fine. For me, I'm more concerned about capitalizing. I mean, worst case scenario, it only sells like maybe 100,000 copies, and then people forget about it. That's worst case scenario, as far as I can tell, which is totally fine because Zack and Tarn will be funded. You know, like, they don't need to sell that many copies to be wildly successful, and then they'll get tail sales and word of mouth sales. But, you know, in a world where that's not what public excitement is saying, and that would also be super duper underselling. I mean, the thing's got to be on at least 1 million people's wish lists at this point. 700,000-800,000 on the low end, and usually when a game releases on Steam, 10%. Or, sorry, not 10%. 40 to 50% of the people who have it on their wish list buy it. So, within a week. Which leads me to believe that it'll probably get bought pretty quick. And probably be good. And do just fine. As far as the community goes, I think it'll probably be pretty similar to the RimWorld community. Kind of insufferable in places and totally fine everywhere else. You know? Like, there's fortunately enough games that are comparable in their scale and style that you can kind of look at those other communities and be like, yeah, it'll be fine largely. And then there will be some insufferable individuals and we'll ignore them and it'll be fine. It'll be out this year, Zaid. If you pay close attention, you'd know that, but it'll be out this year. But do we have a date? No. We know fall. That's what we know. The initial release version is going to include just Fortress mode, and then after it's released and for sale, they're going to work on Adventure mode and then get the UI for Adventure mode redone, which will take them another couple months to a year. And then that'll release, and then they move on to working on Villains stuff, which I'm very excited about. That's what I want them to work on, is Villains stuff. 2 cabinets. Villains, yeah. So, like, Dwarf Fortress has, like, upgrade arcs, right? Or patch arcs. And the one that we're in the middle of right now is Villains. Villains aimed to, well, flesh out this screen and the interrogations screen. So that was one thing that it led to do. I need to let out this dead dwarf so that they can give him a coffin. Let's make sure that I have open coffins. Yes, I do. So it basically worked on the interrogations and crime stuff in Fortress mode, villain trees and networks theft of valuable objects and stealing artifacts, plots and outside forces trying to steal things from your fortress or cause a coup or cause your dwarves to revolt. But the part that didn't, and more expanded quest lines for adventure mode, but the part that didn't get finished was the part where you can also be evil in fortress mode. That stuff never got finished. So because they signed a contract with Kitfox to make the Steam version, they signed that contract and then went and worked on villain stuff for a year because that's what they'd promised us. They worked on the villain stuff for a year, paused the villain stuff, and started working on fortress mode. So the stuff that we got, and the first year after Premium was announced, they were actually working on stuff for Classic, which is in the game now, as alongside of guilds and a bunch of other things that we got. The friendly floors, no, I'm good. I don't need more. Bards, I got plenty. So for like a year after Premium was announced in 2019, we had a long stretch of them actually working on the villains patch. So they're gonna, after Premium's finished, they're gonna go back to working on villains, which is funny that people are like, when's Myth and Magic coming? It's like, well, after the world rewrite, which is after villains, which is after the army arc, I think. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's on the to-do list for Dwarf Fort, and I can't wait. But a lot of that stuff won't take too long. Like, Tarn said once that the rest of the villain stuff it's just a lot of him enabling stuff in adventure mode, and it'll take him 6 months tops, which is pretty quick for Dwarf Fort. So that's what villains is. Humanum. Hello, by the way. But I'm looking forward to it because that stuff's like fun to think about because it's actually like new mechanical features instead of just like fancy graphics. Fancy graphics are nice, but and new UI is nice, but it doesn't actually change the game much. And as somebody who plays the game right now, that's not that exciting. What's exciting for me is the prospect of my channel growing. That's what's exciting for me, is like the more people wanting to watch is exciting for me. I'll say this is just like yeah, it's a no particular deity. Go worship them. Going to slaughter that water buffalo calf. I really should start growing food at some point. Just kind of completely neglected to start any kind of farming, and it's funny to me. Because I never do this. I always have farming set up pretty damn quick. But there's just like nowhere to do that super safely. So I just haven't bothered. That is a lot of magma crabs right there. Yeah, villains is... Having all of villains is going to be fun. It's actually kind of funny. There's a talk that... I think it was at the roguelike celebration. There's a talk that Tarn did in 2016 where he talks about villains. I want to say it was 2016? Yes, it was. No, it wasn't quite 2016. This was October. Actually, this is interesting. This talk that he did
that seems to be working. Okay.
Back at Roguelike Celebration in pause the game. Back in 2018 about this. I just learned that they signed the deal with Kitfox in summer 2018 when we were muted during the last interview. And then he mentioned that again during the last interview. So at this point, when he's sitting here talking about villains, when he's talking about this, he just signed a deal at Kitfox to make Premium, but nobody fucking knew yet. That's actually really cool, now that I think about that. But yeah, no, he talks about how villains are going to work. So if you want to learn about villains, there's a video for you. It's 33 minutes. It's a great little talk. Probably mute YouTube so I don't accidentally play sounds in the background. But that's interesting. The more you know. There we go. These dwarves are getting a break to socialize and do what they actually need to do. Because I've been not neglecting them, but water that reindeer. It's not that I've been neglecting the dwarves necessarily. It's just they've needed a break. Relieved on crying somebody in charge word after being able to pray. This bard is just serving drinks. Like, isn't very happy about it. Serving dwarven wine? We have dwarven wine now? What drinks are we serving? Dwarven wine, sandpear cider, peach cider, cherry wine, apple cider, fisherberry wine, sewer brew, radish wine, potato wine, and finger mullet beer. We really need to get out there and get some of the nicer stuff, you know? Go gather more plants. Got a few dwarves out there gathering plants. Got peaches, apples, sand pears, apples. Need shoes. Cloaks. Still working on shoes, leathers, and gloves. Yeah, no, the actual thing that I'm looking forward to the most about Dwarf Fortress isn't the premium version. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most, far and away, beyond anything, is the prospect of having Tarn work on stuff with help post-launch. Because him stating that he might open up portions of the game as like a semi-open source thing for world generation, and also maybe being able to bring on like and actually hire up and expand Bay 12 a little bit is one of the coolest things I think he's ever talked about. And hearing him sound excited at that as a prospect is really cool to me. So I'm super keen. Let's expand this kitchen a little bit. He said that, yeah. He's talked about potentially open sourcing parts of world generation a couple of times. It's something that like has come up. I remember it was like on I want to say it was like a rock paper shotgun interview or something. But like back when Premium was first announced, they asked him. They were like, "What will you do if the game sells 1 million copies?" And he says, "I don't know, open source world generation or something. Release the code, that sort of thing." He's just like, I don't know what I'll do if I have that much money. Was quite literally what he said. So. But yeah, I don't know. It's a very interesting prospect of what could happen. The future is cool and exciting. And it's nice to have a game that I care about with developers that have good morals, that aren't all about, you know, let's print all of the money out of this thing. Although, who knows? Maybe money is a slow and insidious killer. Maybe maybe those two will become DLC mongrels. But I doubt it. I doubt it. All I know is close to launch, I want to have Tarn on stream again, because I think that would be very interesting to hear what he has to say about Premium a couple weeks after it's out. It'll be really, because like we kind of have like what, 8 chats with Bay 12 on my YouTube channel now, like 8-hour-plus long chit chats where we talk about the game. And Tarn's kind of gone through this arc. The first time I talked to him, he was like super keen on like working everything, and then towards the middle of them, he talked a couple times about being like bored shitless, basically. and things like not wanting to get out of bed in the morning due to all of the work that he had to do and it being uninteresting work, right? Like a lot of the work that he's been doing is just not exciting. Like it's unfun work having to, you know, just build more pieces of, just building pieces of UI essentially. Like that's not fun work. And so hearing him go from being super keen working on premium to this isn't fun working on premium to, oh my God, we're at the finish line, which is where they're at right now, and like kind of getting excited again. It's really interesting. Kind of seeing where Zach and Tarn are at during all this. Because like they've stated before that they don't really deal with burnout normally. And so this is a weird thing for them because they don't normally deal with burnout because developing Dwarf Fortress is like, all right, what do we want to add to the game this month? I don't know, bees. Okay, let's read about bees for a couple years. And then when they're finally done reading about bees, then they add bees to the game, right? But because Dwarf Fortress has just been in kind of this state of perpetual UI additions for, 2 years, it's less, we're going to, make a cool mechanic and more of a, here is a tiny little piece of UI that needs like a bracket like moved over 3 spaces to the left. Designing a UI that works is much less fun than, researching a bunch about geology and implementing that. Hey, Tygo, what's up? You wonder if Tarn will have a fuck this shit, I'm going on a break period, or if his willingness to implement obscure mechanics will prevail. I have a feeling post-launch, like, if there's any, major bugs getting fixed. Lag spike? Game's not responding. All right, it's doing something. I have a feeling that post-premium launch, there will be a period of a couple of weeks where he just goes on, works on some obscure mechanic for a bit, and then goes and dives into the next major thing. I have a feeling he'll take a break. I hope he'll take a break. I hope he'll do that, because that would be good for everybody. Everybody who likes Dwarf Fortress should hope for that. Okay, let's see how we're doing on bars. There we go. We're getting some steel. Look at that. We also have a shit ton of zinc now. And the mayor wants 3 grades. But how's things, Tygo? Chat, if anybody's feeling generous, Tygo needs a sub. Get the military training again. Troglodyte's still fighting. Could probably go kill that Forgotten Beast. Probably. Winter's upon us. We are now into that season. The season of winter. Winter time. Counts back up to 12. We'll get back up to 100 by tonight, I think. Boopy doop, doopy doop, boopity boopity boop. While we wait for the game to save. Waiting, waiting, waiting. I probably should go into the save settings for this save and disable the pause after save. I said save way too many times in that sentence. Just because, like, I keep forgetting it auto pauses. I've been bored shitless at your job today. Schools don't really have dedicated guards here, so teachers rotate for the administrator duty. It's basically entails sitting in front of a CCTV screen all day trying not to faint from boredom. Do you at least get, like, coffee? Or a radio? I used to have a viewer who lived in Australia who was the night shift security guard in a self-storage place. And he hasn't tuned in a long time because he no longer works that job, I don't think. But the way he talked about that job, it sounds real boring. How radios and coffee are equated? I mean, you're talking to the guy who owns multiple radios and has about 15 meters of FM antenna around the ceiling of his apartment, so. I have a lot of coffee, and there's also I'm staring at a radio antenna, so. Maybe I'm just weird like that. The illusion of security? Yeah, because security guards are pretty not super helpful in that regard, generally. Give you a gather plants job. All right, I think we're gonna go kill that forgotten beast. So I'm going to put you down here and you down here. And I'm going to lock the dwarves up in a burrow. And I'm going to pull this lever, and we're going to follow the military down. They should pull that door pretty quick. Send the militaries out. Apparently they killed a troll. There's some necro towers relatively close by, but I haven't aggroed them. They're not close enough to auto aggro. Goblins mostly, humans. I've poked people with traders to bring in friends. We've got goblins that have attacked us, but we're currently, I guess there's what, dwarves, elves, humans, kobolds, and goblins. But we're trying to become a mountain home, so killing things really isn't the goal here. Is that really where that leads? Oh, I see. Okay. We're just gonna send this squad down underground. Oh, that's an unreachable location. Was it unreachable? Oh, because I plugged it. Duh. I had the foresight to do that. Okay, so what areas are not discovered? Pretty large chunks of it are not discovered. Blind cave bear is fighting. Oh, there's our forgotten beast. Can send the squads to go get it. Our forgotten beast is a great civet with external ribs and a pair of fan-like antennae. It squirms and fidgets, and its rust hair is curly. Beware its poisonous sting. Not too bad. Just killed a bear. Let's follow Diamond, who's in the military. Although, it just walked off of their line of sight, so they're like, ah, where did it go? I don't see. Practice, the lock is so badly secured the door could break open with a strong push, and also the electronics is broken in the door. You're just the warning of an invader, not actual security, but... Hopefully I can, Are you working currently, Tygo, or are you just, like... You know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Off shift. I love the fact that a large portion of my military is just, like, listening to poetry up in the tavern. Like, we're hunting forgotten beasts. They're just off listening to poetry. This cavern is so big, good lord. Oh, fuck. Discovered another downward passage. Also, there's our forgotten beast again. Let's forget about that. You can just like click and drag and attack a group of things. So Magna is currently 1-1 with Forgotten Beast. There's blood on the ground. It is the beast's blood. Magna seems to be slashing the Forgotten Beast in the right front leg with his copper short sword, tearing the fat. Bites the Forgotten Beast in the right false ribs, and the tendon has been torn. The Swordmaster slashes the Forgotten Beast in the upper body with his copper short sword, tearing the fat. A lot more blood. Are you just soloing this fucking thing? Oh my god. Pretty sure Magna mostly just soloed this thing. Shoutouts to Magna, who says, I have improved my sword and that was satisfying. Soloing a Forgotten Beast by yourself, stabbing it, biting it, kicking it. All you really gotta say is that was satisfying. The Axe Lord hacks the Forgotten Beast in the lower body with their thing. Okay. I was curious about who got the kill. The recruit stabs the Forgotten Beast in left front thing, tearing the muscle. Pulls the rear leg. Twists the neck. Tearing the fat. Looks like Magna got the kill. Tearing the muscle and fracturing the skull. Let's see, did Magna get the kill? Hope Magna got the kill after all that. Nope, didn't get the kill. Also, this dwarf came from one of my previous forts, and so they have a whole bunch of like fancy titles. I didn't lock the door, did I? Hold up, I think I locked the door. Yeah, I did. Oh no. I didn't get, like... There's a lot of blood right there. Go from basically dormant to solo raffle stomping Forgotten Beasts after several training sessions. I mean, it's several months, if not years of training sessions usually. And it's like 24/7 training 3 weeks at a time training sessions. Because dwarves only sleep once a month or so. So it's a lot more training than your average human being can do in a week. By 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and it's 11. Gotcha. Good thing about admin duty is the fact that you've earned a week off due to it. Oh, that's pretty good. At least you get a break. All right, let's wait for everybody to get inside. Jump up to the surface. And lock that door again. Whenever anybody wants to come down here and pull that lever. There we go. And we can release the dwarves a little bit. They definitely deserve this break, I think. I think we'll let them spend most of the winter just kind of in the tavern chilling. Because damn, do they ever need it. But yeah, no, it is pretty crazy how quickly they can, you know, become strong, I suppose. So this thing here is a spot that's kind of frozen. I really need some way of making a little farming area. Actually, you know what? Let's try and do this. I could just like yoink. And just like let some of that water flow into here. That might actually do it. So many void hunters keep visiting. They're probably corrupting all of my peoples. I'm thinking we just dig up to approximately where the aquifer is, and then just like let it flow in. Thinking that's what we'd let them do. Yeah, that's not too bad, the shifts. We got a dwarf that's brawling under the influence. Well, that's not good. Someone's had too many. Calm down, Kel. Calm down. Bud is euphoric due to inebriation. At least that's good. Gonna go commit any crimes, Kel? Are you gonna go punch the military too? Nope. Topple a table, maybe? No, you're just going to very intensely pray at very high speed. You did punch somebody, though. Wonder if we're getting a crime reported. They're a bug. They're not supposed to happen at all. So, in regards to night creature visitors, it's like, yeah, they're kind of interesting, but they're not supposed to happen. Like, just straight up, they are a error. So. Nope. It's been a bug in the game since Villains Part 1. So, you know how we were talking about villains earlier? It's a bug. It's a known bug. There we go. Let this little bit of water flow in. Poodle's been taken by a fey mood. The mechanic been taken by a strange mood. It's also not a very popular bug. It's a bug which amuses a lot of people, but is very much not the way there's like the necromancers are supposed to be like this looming threat off in the distance and not something that the players really will interact with much. Claim to Mechanics Workshop, that checks out. So, you know, it is very much a known bug. So, this is going to be where we're farming, or where we're going to farm, rather, once this boulder gets put in here. And the dwarf runs out the outside. Perfect. Going to, I think, just dump everything out of here. Get it all cleaned up. Is that melting ice? It's a aquifer that I dug into by accident, so it is ice. Some of it didn't freeze. So we are... I redirected the water because there's no soil layer on this chunk of the map. There is some over here where the trees are, but there's none up here because this is a mountain. Not only is it a mountain, it's a good mountain. So I found that aquifer, dug into that aquifer, and I redirected a little bit of this water to make some mud on the ground so I can grow food here. Just so that we can grow pigtails and, like, plump helmets and stuff. Because, like, I do need some farming. For sake of making clothes and my own sanity, so it's a varied aquifer is what it is. But because this is such a large embark, it covers multiple layers. So while channeling into the mountain, I stumbled upon it, and mayor's mandating grates. So I'm going to smooth this entry bit right here. But yeah, this is going to become my slightly below ground garden, which is also going to be real interesting because gardening this way is going to become a lot less effective in premium. You're going to want to farm down in the deeper cavern layers because deeper cavern layers are more fertile for the basement. You're getting used to the graphics? I getcha. Yeah. It's just an ASCII tile set, but yeah, it can be a little bit... What's what? I don't know if you play the game generally, but if you're used to the game looking a certain way, it can be can throw you off a little bit when you're like, this looks different. This gives me this little chunk of farmable land, which will be super useful. Assuming I've got somebody with farming skills. Does nobody have farming fields jobs turned on? Somebody has to. It's ridiculous to think that nobody did. I guess, like, we've been here for, like, 6 years and we haven't started farming yet, so I guess that would make sense that nobody would have that job assigned. All right, well, now we got one, so... All right, well, off to growing plump helmets. Is the revamped confession... What do you mean by that? You mean like the reworked UI with the new UI elements? Think about that question for a few seconds. Is a portion of the announced and shown revamped UI confirmed for the version of the game whose sole purpose is to revamp and update the UI? Think about that question for a second. I think you can answer it yourself. Is the most anticipated feature from the premium version of Dwarf Fortress confirmed for the premium version of Dwarf Fortress? You know, I don't know, man. I do not know. It's also confirmed for Classic, actually. And we've got this artifact maker making an artifact. Hemp cloth, dog leather, yak leather, conglomerate blocks, willow logs, 2 rough rose, quartzites, lignite, botanimous coal, and more lignite. Definitely a maybe. It's definitely maybe, absolutely. Why are you asking that question? I'm confused. I mean, like, this is going to be what the job orders screen. Blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Orders screen. To actually find the job assignment screen, because I have a billion folders with a billion images in them. Well, I mean, Magic Update's not going to be out for ages. Magic Update is something I don't even bother being excited about because it's so far off. But, you know, Dwarf Fortress fan base, at least currently, is very patient, and that's nice. I'm literally scrolling down this right now, but yes, it's in here. That or it was just posted on Bay 12 at some point. Dwarves UI, maps, more maps, more maps. Scamps and puppy dog. The military stuff. It was a while ago that they showed it. I think this was it. Open this in a web browser so that it actually, so I can zoom in. Steam is too goddamn small. I'm gonna go do another nap. There you go. So you select the type of job, and it shows you all the dwarves that have the job, and then you can tell them whether or not they do it. There you go. That's your reworked dwarf job UI from fucking... When was this? August 2021. So, yes. There you go. I mean, that's just going to be a setting that you can turn on and off like it's always been. Auto-assigning jobs is literally a setting that you can enable if you want. People think it's a DF hack feature. It's not. It's literally something that you can just enable. So, yes, you could enable that if you want. You don't need to enable that if you don't want. Kodal, the mechanic, has created Threatdweller thumb for a lignite mechanism and claims it as an heirloom. It's worth 21,600. Lesson Spiral the Deep Temple. Our Crastor ship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with dog leather and encircled with bands of emerald cut rose quartzites and rectangular conglomerate cabochons. This object menaces with spikes of lignite and botanimous coal and willow and yak leather. It's one of those things, Tygo, that's just going to be surfaced. What does it do? It just assigns jobs as they're needed. Literally called auto labor. Go to the DF wiki and type in auto labor. On the item is an image of Inul, Archboot, the dwarf, and Senair Cactus Yells, the rock in hemp. Senair Cactus Yells is striking down Archboot. The artwork relates to the killing of the dwarf Archboot by the rock Senair Cactus Yells in Heliotrope Point in 112. So, yes, no, that's definitely confirmed. Investments are open as well if you want to invest tickets. Like Peter just did. The OG investment captain. I need some more actual farmers now. It's just a mechanism. It's just an unbreakable mechanism. Mechanisms have a chance to break if they're built into traps, so I'll make it into a trap. But mostly just cool. Although I don't actually see it on there. Must be getting moved to a stockpile. I'm going to unsuspend a lot of jobs now. But yeah, so once premium comes out, it'll just be surfaced in an options menu instead of like being hidden down in a folder that no one ever looks at, which is like, you know, a lot of the like something I'm really excited to see is what the actual options menu looks like, because the alchemical butterflies, I think they visited a previous fort of mine. The interesting thing about premium is that it's going to surface a lot of the more obtuse options that are hidden in the depths of Dwarf Fortress and the init files in an actual options menu. This is a heavily modified version of Krug Smash's tile set if you wanted exclamation point tile set. It's just a ASCII tile set. No problem, Ben. I actually have two versions of it. There's another one that's pinned on my Discord, but... although this tile set's probably going to get retired pretty soon, I would think. Because we'll be moving to a different thing. Might make this into a guild hall. Wow, good job, Aqua. F's for everybody else. Yeah, we'll just let them all get back to work for the next little bit. As I slowly also construct all the way across this thing. Am I really out of conglomerate? Kind of shocking. I'm not. They're literally everywhere down there. What? Guess I just wasn't seeing it in the menu. Oh yeah, being able to easily search things is something I'm also very much looking forward to. You're mostly just waiting for the Steam release? Ah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's imminent, right? I know that a couple people have been saying things on, like, the subreddit quite frequently recently where they're just like, oh man, premium's so close. I'm getting all excited now. And it's like, I want to start a new fort, but I should also just wait for premium. It's like, just start a new fort. No reason to not start a new fort. Just go start a new fort, because, like, you can always start a new one when premium launches. Brush up on the new mechanics and such. Like, guilds are super cool when used correctly. You think you played a little with guilds? It's fun to have an excuse to build extra buildings and rooms. Well, not just that. It's like they're used as schools, which is really cool. I want dimple comps, plump helmets, pigtails. Pump helmets. Pigtails. We'll alternate with those two. We'll run out of seeds for pigtails pretty quickly, though. And then I can move my farmer's workshops up here. If I can remember. W. So there's a few hotkeys that I have a hard time remembering, and farmer's workshops is one of them. Build all those. You know, guilds are super neat. They kind of initially. Oh god, sunberries, man. They kind of initially felt super bland and limited, but upon further inspection, they're super cool. Do really think that they are super cool. Get a bunch of processed plants jobs going over there. Foodstuffs are getting made. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for months, but the thing that I'm actually looking forward to about Premium isn't the fact that, like, it'll be out and for sale and a lot of people will get to play it. The thing that I'm looking forward to the most is that once it's done, Tarn can go do something else. Like, that's the thing that I'm actually looking forward to about Premium being done, is that Tarn can just say fuck it and then go work on something else for a bit, and that's gonna be really nice for him. And also, hopefully, you know, not worry about car payments anymore. Also, something that I didn't really expect. In a recent video, I compared Dwarf Fortress to Star Citizen in that they're both like these big, endless, forever games that are just getting endlessly funded and developed. I'm kind of surprised not that many people were, like, mad when I said that. I kind of expected to get attacked. But in the response that I actually got was just, you know, I think you might be right. Which is a bit surprising to me. I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of expecting, like, the opposite of that, but guess I'm just impressed by the Dwarf Fortress community and their leveled responses to things. But yeah, you can do some really, really cool things with guilds if you set them up correctly. Like, you can have children that are fully trained on very complex tasks like metalsmithing. Like, you can have, like, novice or, like, moderately skilled metalsmiths by the time they're adults. You admire the scope of both projects? Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with the business model of Star Citizen, but it makes sense for what it is. I don't like it, but it makes sense. As a huge Star Citizen participator, you'd been thinking the exact same thing. Yeah, like, I bought Star Citizen, or I bought Access, I guess, in the form of a $30 ship, like, I don't know, 10 years ago? Not quite 10 years ago. It was like, it wasn't the Kickstarter, it was after the Kickstarter. It was like maybe 5-6 years ago now. It was after it had been around for a bit, and it was, like, kind of playable and more than just a hanger. It was fine. I don't feel ripped off. It feels like a space game. The flight model wasn't great at the time. It was laggy and crashed. But, like, it was fine for what it is. So I understand the animosity against it, but I'm just more surprised that people weren't so mad. And is less money grabby? Well, also you need to remember that Dwarf Fortress is 2 guys. And Star Citizen is, what, 3 studios? Like, it's much harder to be in touch with your community when your community is that big. Not true. I mean, you can run it on a 1070, which is what I have. As in regards to Star Citizen, it runs like ass, but you can do it. It runs like an ass sliding down a hill on sandpaper, but You can do it. Yeah, I mean, like, and also the other thing that, like, I've commented about Star Citizen a couple times in the past few days is that Star Citizen is, like, as insane as that project is, they are doing it in the best way possible. A stupid way to do that project would be develop it in San Francisco with all American employees, with the most expensive office, and have a secondary office in New York. Whereas, like, most of their offices, at least last time I checked, were all in Europe and in very cheap countries where, like, the cost of living and the cost of, like, running a studio like that is very low. Which is the smart way to do that. So, you know. That being said, I think that they should just go seek more external funding and not focus so much on charging their community for everything, but I digress. And they're starting to get their stuff together. Yeah, I think Star Citizen might surprise some people in a couple of years. I have no interest in playing the thing because it's not the kind of game I want to play, but I think that game's going to surprise people. I think it's just going to pop up one of these days. But oddly enough, Star Citizen, just like Dwarf Fortress, both of those games do not qualify for Steam's early access, which I think is really funny. Because in order to qualify for Steam's early access, you need to have a reasonable 1.0 date. Dwarf Fortress isn't going to hit 1.0 for like another 30 years probably. So that's not reasonable. So they don't qualify for early access. Are you a vampire? I haven't seen anything about you drinking. Eating a fine dish. Relieved you eating a fine dish. It's a weird dwarf. Do you not drink? Oh, you're thirsty. Are you literally going to go drink? That would explain why your mood is so terrible. Is because you've been doing stuff without drinking for so long. Their audio designer is one of my subscribers. Ben. Or Mordhau. Or their audio lead audio engineer. So that's one of the reasons I refuse to use Dwarf Therapist, is because it is straight up just cheating when it comes to all of the fun social deduction games in DF. Like there's nothing better than scrolling down in this screen and seeing needs alcohol to get through. Well, this is an elf, so I won't say it, but needs alcohol to get through the working day and can't remember the last time they had some. It's like, what are you? Like they're either undead and hiding it, or they're a werecreature, or they're a vampire. It's fun. Yeah, I was talking to him at one point about how many screams that game has in it. They're like, every patch they just add like 100 different screams. They just go around to all the people who work there and just say, scream into a microphone. Act like you're dying, okay? I've never played it, so. But I just think it's kind of funny. Pretty much, yeah, that. Speaking of, I wonder when the fuck we're gonna actually hear about the redacted thing that got, like, leaked on my stream by Zach and Tarn, that the first time I had both Zach and Tarn on. I wonder when they're actually going to announce that. Because even, like, Tarn wondered out loud during the interview. He goes, you know, there's something to announce there. I wonder when they're going to do that. That stuff should be shaping up and pretty ready to go. Huh. And then, like, just didn't say anything else. It's pretty alright if you like games like Mountain Blade. Yeah, but I don't like other people. That's the problem. It's like, that game looks great and would be great if there wasn't other humans in it. There's a announcement that Bay 12 has to, or Kit Fox has to make regarding Redacted to do with Dwarf Fortress. And it was accidentally leaked by Zach on my stream. And so I censored it for the edited version. It's not censored in the unedited version, so you can go watch it if you want and figure it out. But I'm just wondering when they're actually going to announce that. It's weird that they haven't yet. Sirelak, what up? It's good to see you. And hi, Balrog. Hopefully I don't dig too deep and run into you. Yeah, no, I don't like playing games with other human beings. It's something that I've like determined a long time ago. It's like the one thing that still makes me hesitant about whether or not I want to play Space Station 13. But speaking of crazy insufferable communities, largely insufferable communities, Space Station 13. Even the people I know who really like that game complain about that game's community from time to time. You got me into a mess coming in the month? Okay, well, got it. I've played about 10 minutes of SS14. I logged in and there was a round going and I joined and then it ended. I was like... I think that part of the reason that those people are chill is because probably they're all the people that are tired of the rest of the SS community, you know? That's a weird thing to say out loud because the SS is something very different. Space Station community. Also, springtime, meaning old things will die. I don't think there's that many old things, though. The only thing I've had die of old age in this fort is a cat, so... A few weeks ago, you watched a stream of you, and you mentioned for like 3 sentences a group that the group Pendulum would be touring in Europe. Yes. Well, because they sent out an email saying they were going on tour in Europe. So, I haven't thought about that since, but yeah, I did mention that. Because I'm on their email list. I don't know when that tour is getting formally announced or where they're going, but... Oh. You're welcome, Balrog. Hell yeah. If you're in my Discord, post pictures in music chat. We have a music room. I'd love to see. All right. A lot of building construction going on now. I have a music room on my Discord, yeah. You make music, but it sucks. In what feels like a lifetime ago, there was a point where I wrote a choir piece that got performed in front of a crowd of 1,000 people, and I got an article in the local newspaper about it. And I once wrote a piece for full symphony orchestra that got performed. But that wasn't in front of such a big crowd. You're once again in the stream. Oh no, you're hatless. That's unfortunate. Hey, is Glinkus back? Glinkus, our kobold friend. Run away. You crazy bastard. You listened to Pendulum many times during your youth? I can Hold Your Collar is a Hold Your Color is a fantastic album. You ordered the tickets in an instant? Hell yeah. From what I've heard, clowns are the least of your concerns once the Psydept or Cargolia declare independence. What? I could read music before I could read. But I haven't played or written anything in years, outside of like a few synthesizers I play around with now. I own a couple cheap synthesizers that I mess around with quietly on my own time, but I guess technically I played cello for 15 years and took piano lessons and basic university music theory. But like I said, it was basically a lifetime ago. Like I stopped doing that in my late teens. No problem, Seeker. Cheers. I'm glad that you watch them. It's nice that so many people watch them. It's the first thing that I've ever really created as a creator that's consistently been enjoyed by people. That's nice. All right. Yeah, they're just working on the roof. Let them keep building. Watch every episode. You know, it's weird. I've had people compare me to things and like state that, oh yeah, I watch every episode of this, and then I think to myself, I'm like, man, last time I watched like literally every episode of a thing that got uploaded by a YouTuber was Total Biscuit. It's like Total Biscuit and then like maybe Mandalore. Been a long time. You go crazy if you're not making something? I make a lot of things, it's just not music usually. The elves are here to trade. From Asromimi. We demanded tribute from them so that they would come and trade with us because we're a little far away. So we're pretty far south in this world. As a king, God rest his soul. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be making content these days if it wasn't for him. Well, him and Giant Bomb, I think. And I still listen to Jeff Gerstmann, but the old Scene Anners. I remember the first Scene Anners video I ever watched was very unique title here. Let's Play Minecraft Part 1. Really? Aqua? It's like News That Matters and then Dwarf Fortress News are the two things you watch every episode of. I'm very consistent with podcasts, but I'm not very consistent with YouTube videos. Although, actually, on the topic of Total Biscuit, I've started watching Jesse Cox's 5-minute gaming news, which are actually pretty good. Actually pretty good. Those are actually quite well done, little put together things. You ever want to watch Jesse Cox talk about games news again? I have to say that I'm a big fan of honest clickbait, Piranha, where it's just like, you know, those videos that are just like, 10 things that I did to start my business, or moving across the country changed my life, and like all these things that sound really dramatic, but like that's actually just what the video's about. Big fan of that kind of, it's not really clickbait, it's like in the inverse of clickbait. Where it's like, yes, it's clickbait, but it's also honest clickbait. The old days of clickbait, it was just like, it's a Philip DeFranco video where he mentions a celebrity for 3 seconds, and thus it's just like that celebrity's tits on the thumbnail. That's clickbait. Because all you actually get is Philip DeFranco's face talking at a camera for 3 minutes in the old days of YouTube. Back when he was called SXE Phil, instead of being called Philly D. I don't watch Mr. Beast because he kind of bothers me. That kind of like YouTube philanthropy stuff just irks me a little bit. But that's just because I work in this industry, and hearing his name constantly is annoying. Yeah, like anything Vsauce ever uploaded. Back when they consistently uploaded instead of like doing YouTube premium stuff. Some horrible thing happens in the news, and then there's videos of it happening that isn't, and they just lie for... There's videos of it happening that isn't, and they just lie for clicks. Yeah, that sucks. All right, let's see what I can sell these elves. Let's sell them a prepared food pot and just buy whatever their fruits are. What? We got disorderly conduct? Huh. Right. Yeah, Kel punched somebody. I need to make more prison cells. Elrog, thanks for the 3rd month with that Prime. If I don't come back, we'll dig you up eventually. I swear. Chat, can I get a round of beers for the Belrog subscribing? It's kind of like signing my fate. On how to get such a big fortress? This isn't a big fortress. Play the game. I don't know. But this isn't a big fortress at all. I mean, I only have 75 dwarves, so I just built it. But I actually, now that I think about it for a second, and I'm being less sarcastic, if you limit your population to like 60 for the first 3-4 years and focused entirely on building and then crank your population up to 200, you can get a lot more done before you start getting attacked. And then you can have, like, Krug Smash does that and stuff. That's something I'd recommend, but outside of that, I don't know. Just build stuff. Did we get a siege today? Not yet, but we did kill a Forgotten Beast. Okay. Ran into the aquifer again. Copper chain. 30 copper chains. Yeah, we also killed a giant. What is my current project? Building up the fort and keeping my military trained and building the top of it. Mostly just still constructing the fort. The goal of this fortress is to get the king and queen into the fort, who I was originally just going to kill the queen because they seemed like they couldn't be trusted. Wait, hold on a second. You just want a door in your dining room? Like, oh, there's a demand from the mayor. I look at the mayor's demand. Door in dining room. No particular material. I've never seen a request for just a... It's always a specific piece of furniture made out of specific material. I've never seen just, I need a door. That's actually a reasonable demand. I just want a, like, non-connected door. I do it manually, but I do a rotating military schedule. Pretty long training stints and then take them off training. Should have elven mayors more often. They're very reasonable, seemingly. But, yeah, having good defenses helps, but I usually quite literally just set it so that my population is super low, so I just don't get attacked initially. That's my favorite way of doing things. In your dining room? The thing is, there's already a door to their dining room, because this is the mayor's dining room. There's a door to get in the front door. This door. But actually there's two. They just want another one. Yeah, no, there's already two doors technically. There's one to the bedroom and one in the dining room. So they want a third door just standing in the dining room. You just love doors too? If you ever see the audience member Gimper in the chat, you should add him because he's a door salesman. He sells doors and doors accessories if you love doors. So if you're in the need of... What the fuck is that? Oh. Why is there like a partially dug out conglomerate wall right there? The fuck? It's like, is that a cloud of flies? What is that? I mean, they can be. Big plan to get doors? I love doors for their mystery of what may or may not be behind them. Just a big fan of the doors. I mean, they had some bangers. God damn it. I hit the button on my mouse again that broke my sensitivity. There we go, fixed it. There's a button on this mouse that turns on mouse acceleration, and every now and again I bump it, and then suddenly my mouse just feels awful. I'm just like, what is wrong with my mouse? Why is my mouse broken? And then usually pretty quickly it unscrews itself, which is good. I mean, by that logic, I'm sure you could make some kindling out of doors if you're burning for doors. All right, let's... Kel, how do you like being in prison? Feels pleasure near a fine restraint. Guilty after being confined. Hopefully that's not too long of a sentence. 18 days? I mean, it's just for brawling under the influence, so it's a pretty mild... mild charges for a dwarf. Make into room, used by justice. Make into room, used by justice. Make into room, used by justice. There we go. We actually have enough rooms now. And you see a mastercrafted door. Yeah, okay, so, like, true story. There's, like, a condo block that was finished pretty recently. Relatively close to where I live. Like, maybe a 10-minute walk. And all of the... Like, it's this black building. The outside of this building is black. And all of the doors... And the roof is... the kind of the roofing bits are white. And all of the doors are, like... Like, you know the horror movie stereotype where it's, like, the red door? And it's, like, this blood red, bright-ass, like... off burgundy door that like almost looks shiny when you see it when the sun reflects off of it. That's the color these doors are. And it's weird to me. It creeps me out. There's something about it that just feels off and I don't like it. It makes me very uneasy. Well, then if you have problems with tantrum spiraling, that's why. Prisons are super useful. Although if you use Dwarf Therapist and you cheat, like I guess you could skip entire mechanics of the game, but then you lose your right to complain. Like a Mirror's Edge door? Let me see if I can find an example. Like this kind of thing. Like it's an unsettling red. Like not like a Mirror's Edge red, but like an unsettling, like creepy red. Anyway, they're selling those apartments for like $500,000 a piece, so you know. I wonder why they're not selling. They're trying to sell them. It's one of the few apartment buildings in the area that's not sold out already. Maybe they have doors in their dining room. Speaking of. Yeah, that's literally all they wanted was a door in their dining room. The mayor literally just wanted a plain, nondescript door in their dining room. So this is their dining room now. It's a perfectly normal dining room, but there's a door there. I want my dining room to be a storage unit. I once stayed at a cabin years ago that had a picnic table made out of doors. It was like 5 or 6 front doors that were like hacked into pieces and built into a picnic table. It was a nice picnic table, but it's just kind of funny. They're still making blocks. Yes, they are. For an obscure god they worship? Well, they're an elf and they worship a force, which is like a force of nature. And we don't have the description of what that force is specifically. Because it's an elven force named Kovima Elifimigaif or something. So, there's that. The only door that I have in my apartment is the one that goes into my bathroom. And I almost never close it because I live alone. So, you know, maybe well, I guess there's also the door to the hallway on the outside and the sliding glass door, but the only door that I actually have in my apartment is the one to my bathroom, and I almost never close it. The joys of living alone, you know? I would say that little farming spot has gone well. And also, ooh, hey, most of these traps are done. That's nice. Let's unsuspend that one. Build more weapon traps. Yeah, my apartment is 424 square feet or 39.8 square meters. I think that's including patio. There we go. That's going to be all of the weapon traps we work on for the next little bit. What, the spinning this thing cuts this thing? Yeah. My favorite combat text to read, though, is spinning trap combat text while the baddies are also drowning in lava. So you get to read about how their legs and arms and body parts are all oozing blood, but also they're getting cut apart by the axe that is spinning towards them. Those are pretty good. That or just like combat when like a cat joins in for kind of no reason. So there will be like 5 dwarves fighting with a bunch of goblins and then just like, oh, and a cat joins in. It's not technically music. It's actually a noise generator. That's it. Pilot, are you in my chat right now? Don't think he is. Because he just posted a Polyphia song in my Discord in the music section. But it's called Muse, and that threw me off. It's like, why is Polyphia doing stuff with Muse? I could almost see that happening. It's Jabbers in the basement picking on poor Crundles. You have a one-bedroom apartment and everything in your living room where the AC and windows are is just closed off. The back half with a tapestry and closed doors. Your electric bill, your electric bill was $33 a month. You have a one-bedroom apartment. You have your bed and everything in the living room. Where? Oh, I see. Okay, so you don't have to like worry about cooling another area. I get you. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the same thing I have. I mean, like, I swap over this camera. This space that I'm in, this nook with like those two open archways, this is supposed to be the bedroom. That's my kitchen. My bed is right on the other side of that wall, in what is supposed to be the living room, because it's just easier to do it that way. Like, I had my computer out there for ages in my bed in here, and then one day I just kind of like, I don't know, I got kind of manic and just like completely reorganized the entire apartment, moved everything in here, and now I stream out of this room and it's so much better. Well, there's Periphery, and Polyphia, and Tesseract are kind of, I don't know, I'd call, I don't know. I don't know what age their fan bases are. I don't really like any of them, though. Tesseract especially, I don't really like. Got some more migrants. Got a lie maker. Let's give you some real jobs. Specifically, since you're a farmer, we'll just give you a bunch of farming gigs. You're a peasant. Craft a masterwork someday. Does everything in his power to avoid stress and excitement. Okay. Well, have metalsmithing, have farming. You're a butcher, dreams of raising a family. Okay. A fisher dwarf, that's a shame. Let's give you stoneworking. Like, when it comes to kind of jazzy djenty bands, I'm a big fan of, I'm a big fan of animals as leaders, and the bands that kind of flow in their circles, and I'm also a really big fan of, like, physics house band and stuff like that. I don't, there's something about Polyphia that just feels cheap. I don't know. There's a lot, like, I also really like Strawberry Girls. Think of, like, instrumental, djenty, heavy bands. I'm gonna see animals as leaders in October. Be my second time seeing them. And this time I don't need to get on a fucking plane to see them, which I'm super excited about. Hey, Darren. What up? Dreams of crafting a masterwork someday? Sure. Stray reindeer, aka dinner. Someone's pet peacock. Papermaker, dreams of mastering a skill. Extremely confident in herself. You're joining the military. Slow to anger. You brave. Can handle stress. Also dreams of mastering a skill. Start a new squad. Grab metal armor. The free seals. You join them. Get them training. Also dreams of mastering a skill. Intellectually stubborn. Likes to brawl. We're gonna need these military dwarves. Strand extractor, eh? Perfectionist. Whenever I see strand extractors, it's like, what are you doing at the mountain home? Are you brave? Do you like to brawl? You like excitement? Yes. Horse. Dinner. Let's let you be an animal dissector. Be a pump operator. You just got my bot name? What do you mean? It's the skeletons memes. Also, when it comes to 70s metal, I got a link. Although it's not actually 70s metal, but I bought this thing recently and I need to share it with other people so that other people can witness the glory of this bullshit. I bought the cassette tape, which is now sold out apparently. Oh, never mind. They did a second pressing. But I bought the original one. Anyway, listen to that. Specifically the track Hired Gun. And I think the one thing this band really needs is a graphic designer. But just listen to this track. Just give it a listen. For those of you who like 70s sounding stuff. Got a ban on certain exports. What can I not export? Export of earrings is prohibited. I thought you were gonna say export of doors is prohibited. I was gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. All right. Also, I've been live for 5 hours. I'm gonna take a real quick piss break, I think. Actually, I might go do lunch. Yeah, chat, I've been live for like 5 hours. I'm going to